I have my issues with Arteta. I think that he gets really stubborn at times. He gets stuck in his ways.
Which is an ingredient you need to be a top manager.
You know, he gets stuck in his ways at times. But let's call it spade a spade. The board don't have the ambition that the fans of the football club.
We've said it before. I disagree with you.
No, I do.
Now's not the time.
But it's the fact.
Arteta is the one manager that I'm not going to have it that he's complaining about signing.
The board didn't give him.
No Arsenal manager has been backed like this man.
This is his 5th full season, bro.
Yeah.
5th.
No
full
excuses.
season.
No excuses.
So
Of
it
course.
is your team. It has been your duty to build this team up. Okay, so when you took the job, how many years did you think they were going to give you before you should win the Premier League title?
Welcome along, everybody, to our THP studios. I am Yubby Rufai, aka Mike One, aka The Register, aka Press Resistance. And on this little entertainment show of ours, where you come for the football and stay for the banter, it is my pleasure to welcome to you Arsenal's biggest fan favorite and everyone's favorite senior man, Mr. Ineva Monday.
Pleasure, man.
Next up, the man who's in his lifetime seen 2 Champions League titles as a Chelsea supporter. In his spare time, he actually plugs music for artists and distribution, Mr. Yubby Rufai. And of course, last but not the least, is a man who's got the shades on today. In his lifetime, he has seen 2 titles from a Champions League as United supporter. The bad thing is that he supports Lakers, who's not got the 5 at home. Good to see everybody on the podcast. The morning after the Champions League, what a week it's been. Great stuff. I totally feel like, football has hope again, no?
Yeah, of course.
It feels really good to be back.
Incredible game.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, before we start, my brother-in-law.
Yeah, I wanted to say you've got the shades
Yes,
on, right?
yes.
And normally, so I had to put mine down because Emeka shades is more expensive than mine. that's I can realize the original rebound when I see it, right? So Emeka put the shades on because it's got some,
Yeah, I said let me flex more today. Yeah. 3 weeks ago, I know Rufai and I picked Inter Milan. I also said PSG will go through, so small flexing there, but obviously they're really close games, so that could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But my brother-in-law, he never misses an episode. He watches every single episode.
Oh,
his name is Ibe. He's like my bro.
Shout out to
So
Ibe.
he's one of the best hype man event hosts in Lagos, by the way.
Right.
But he doesn't respect my club, so I said instead of me to text him, I said you're going to see me today. When you're watching this episode. Out of the blue, you're going to see me
in the black shades as well.
Respect us. Respect us.
Respect.
Love you, bro.
Do you know what this means?
Respect.
3. It means 3-0, but it also means 3. And 1-3.
3 for me.
3 for me.
And 2 for them.
2 for
Two
the
for
rest
them.
of us.
Shout out to you, bro.
That's the thing about
Legendary.
before the podcast, and I'm sure Wale will probably post that up later as well. That's one of the things. Like, this was in a press conference, and how can you be that presence to connect such dots and still come out as the winner after you've beaten 3-0? It's crazy, but
The man was born ready.
No, he was born ready. Total psychologist. But I totally enjoyed this week, guys. And someone said this is the football that Pep Guardiola robbed us of. Robotic system, everybody, moving like this,
And you know the funny thing, disappointed as an Arsenal fan, but what a game of football. Those 2 days.
Yeah.
I've served up. They're like, you sit down and watch this game. My wife was like, this Inter Milan game, how many times you won't watch them?
I think
This game. I watched that game again.
I think it's also like the legacy of it. So again, like my I was talking about, is a diehard Barcelona fan, and again the football, the style of football is the reason why these all around the world, we have fans everywhere. United fans, Chelsea fans, Barcelona. It's like we're actually so lucky to be football fans. And people that don't watch football.
If you don't love football,
what do you do with your life?
I called my guy Dozie. I was like, I hope he watches matches with me.
see, let me tell you.
I was spoken to him. I was like, I don't hear from him today. I hope he watches matches, because if you have not, that means we have missed a conversation for 10 years.
Honestly,
I can't tell you.
Honestly.
Let me tell you. You know, in life, genuinely in life, there are a lot of experiences. But there are not a lot of experiences that would stay with, that you can actually remember, or that you can really remember how much you enjoy it in the moment.
Yeah.
You can have experiences and then years down the line you can't even really remember. There are not a lot of experiences you would remember how much you enjoyed it in the moment.
Exactly.
So you see, if you sit here now, you can remember, say for example, Barcelona Arsenal, the final.
Yeah.
I can remember United, Chelsea, 2008. So football, if you don't watch football, how much experience in life?
That feeling, what can get you that feeling?
I think the key thing you have missed out is that if you don't, you can, so in another part of the world, right, you can afford to do this thing. In Nigeria, there's little joy. Right? So you have to hold on to this one.
You have to hold on to, bro.
You have to hold on to it.
At the Olympics in Paris last year, I still remember the final of the 100 meters, and it was explosive. The 100 meters is another, part of sports that it's very
really
explosive.
explosive.
It's 10
Yes.
under 10 seconds.
It's
but
done,
yes.
It's magical.
Yes.
And this year was very competitive because there was Noah Lyles, there were a few guys who were very, competitive. And Noah Lyles,
I like him, by the way. I like him a lot.
he's the Jose Mourinho in athletics. He
Very
talks,
vocal.
He said he was going to win, this. The commentator said something at the end of that race. He said, that's why live sports is better than Hollywood.
Bro.
Like,
It is.
No, it is.
It
he
is.
said, that's why live sports is better
It
than
is.
Hollywood. Like, there are certain things that happen in football. When Alisson scored that header against West Brom, I still remember what the commentator said. He said the word unbelievable gets thrown around in football every now and then.
Yeah.
He said, but that
is
genuinely
unbelievable.
is unbelievable. Like,
Absolutely.
When you think about these things that happen in
There's
football,
no feeling like it.
like when a Cherby scored,
Exactly.
There's literally no feeling
when
like
it- when
it.
No one could have predicted that.
when a
moment.
Cherby,
Do you understand?
when a
No one could have
Cherby
predicted that
scored,
moment.
like I was telling my wife yesterday, I said this guy wore a black inner, wore his jersey. When he scored, he took both of them up.
Everything.
When he was wearing black, he wore only the jersey. You don't even know where the black top. That's what football does
where,
for you.
where I saw the game, right? Where I saw I've been sick for a few days.
I
So
want to
at
ask
the
you because it don't say it is sick. That's when they see the cover out.
So the game was going to start. So I was in my mind, I was thinking, I could just watch this thing.
She watch out for platform.
You
or
get
you go
go
come on.
watch out for, you understand?
platform.
Oh, I go come on. The game started already like 5 minutes in the game. I'm like, no, man, I can't
No,
do
no,
this.
no, you can't
I have
do
to see this game the right way. So I left the house. There's someone very close to my house. Very nice spot. So I was sitting down. So you always have a group of people where I don't know what link or whatever they're using. They always get the updates before it happens.
They're on the platform.
They're on the platform. So it was 3-2. I already posted on the group. I said, man, it's over, man. Barcelona. So I posted on the group. I said, it's over. Barcelona are going through. And this boy started screaming.
Nah, boys with the bet.
At the moment the boys started screaming, I looked back. It wasn't the Barcelona set of boys. I'm like, no way Inter Milan have scored again. So it was like a few minutes. Inter have scored again. Like everybody was going crazy.
This experience,
unbelievable.
this experience happened to me exactly in 2011 when we lost title to City. The goal
Yeah,
difference.
very good.
So we're watching the game like here, right? I live like where we did all of us day here. I won my game against Sunderland. Which is right. So I left the way, I walked away and was like, let me go and wait for my coronation. So I'm waiting on the platform, right? So it's elevated like this, so I can see the rest of the guys coming. So I said that the people that are running towards me are very Chelsea fans. I don't see United fans. Something is not right. Yeah.
Talking about how you remember, so you're remembering the feeling. Like
Yeah.
I remember that
The
feeling.
feeling.
I had an exam the next morning. I
Exactly.
remember the weight of
Exactly.
that. The weight of that feeling.
When we lost the
I'll never
Champions League
forget
final to United.
it. To today, I can't watch the highlights. I that Aguero.
Yeah.
Anytime I see it, I turn it off.
I don't watch it.
To today, I can't.
Because commentaries are things that they stick in my head a lot.
Yeah.
2 minutes into stoppage time, the game was still 2-1.
Yes.
There's a Man City fan that took off his sweatwear and he was hitting it. And the commentator said, Peter Drury said, where will they have the moral fiber to go to work tomorrow morning?
Really says that game should be investigated.
Like,
Football. My God.
That's why.
I've
That's why.
got two
When I
friends.
see Taiwo,
QPR, they were informed that they were safe.
They were
They
safe.
had some City old boys that were celebrating celebrating with them. Was it
No, they were celebrating. They were safe. You know, City.
But they were celebrating with City players.
Hey, no,
Celebrating with
hey, no,
Because
City
they're
players.
safe.
You have
So
met
the City
your,
At the
players.
same stadium.
you have met your objective.
So
You have met your own.
I have met my
So
objective.
let's have a good time together.
Bottles of understanding.
You should fall.
that's APC and PDP launching. Yeah.
No, that's now PD. APC.
PDP. Yeah, our agenda.
It has aligned.
Finally.
You know.
No, football.
Tactical.
I have one or two friends who don't watch football. I'm thinking of unfriending them because I don't trust them.
This week
Like, how can you not watch football?
totally good.
Crazy,
Box
crazy
office stuff, right? Well, someone said, say your wife is in labor, right? But complications arise. The doctor says only one can be saved, either the wife or the baby. Say, who would you choose to save? Someone replied, the gorilla. So that he will beat you and the other men that are asking you stupid questions.
Stupid question. I was just about to say I hate these questions.
Stupid
man.
question.
Stupid questions everywhere.
Stupid questions.
Say, who are they going to save?
Say you're going out. The back seat of the car. Say your wife say you want to sit in front.
So who is he going to sit in front? You are a fool. You are a fool. A big fool.
This brain.
Come on, these stupid questions.
Stupid questions.
He say, if somebody gives you $10 million, will you slap him? Say no more. Why you asking me stupid
questions?
Oh God.
Why are you some stupid questions? Why can't you ask me a question of say I have a ticket to go to Dubai? Which one do you want?
Which one do you want?
Stupid questions. Say if you have 10 million, but somebody has eye surgery for 9 million. Say your father has surgery. Yeah, has eye surgery for 9 million. Who will you choose to save? What stupid question is that? Leave me alone. Don't ask me stupid questions. If you like that guy.
Who ask these questions, they know themselves. Stop it.
He say I caught a cold. Say why don't you just let it cold?
Let it go.
Let it go.
That's stupid questions.
That's stupid questions. Oh man. But someone mentioned that say Barca are the first team in history to come and go back. Come back and go back.
Bro, that's that. See, when I saw that,
I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem with where did this thing drop in your mind? Bro, like I'm always worried about the origin. Like
since the day I saw that tweet, I just remember it randomly and I start laughing.
Bro,
I feel just the waka. I will just remember the Barcelona are the first team in history to come back and go back
and go back.
Goodness.
So,
bro,
so I say before you taste trophy, you go first taste three. You go first taste three. Gen Z's left the group. They can't understand that, right? They can't understand that, right?
You two, you want to win Champions League.
You want to win Champions League. Bro,
He needs to have not seen champs.
Oh dear me. The Twitter was wild last night.
One of our
Christ.
own also caught his tray as well. You know, when the admin posted the I'll beat Inter Milan easily. Someone in the comments said, "Say this one thinks he's senior man."
That nigga thinks he's senior man.
He's senior man.
That guy for Twitter said,
Everybody that knew
That guy-
like thief.
that guy-
I'll beat you out. It was
Yeah,
like thief.
That guy wait for Twitter say person where they use my drive car, no they get accident.
Bro, that was the funniest one.
Nigeria has a try.
So how do they use mouth to drive
Nigeria
car?
has a try.
Too good, man.
How
Too
do they
good.
use mouth to drive car?
We are the best at football banter.
No.
There's nothing anybody can tell me.
No, it's not comparable.
We are the
Where
best.
Ghana won't test themselves.
Bro.
They collect and be.
Not comparable, man. Not comparable. But I do think that in terms of you watch football for many reasons. As football fans, you watch football to at the end of the season you can celebrate something. But when you get I think this is one thing that everybody can participate in, right? And one of the biggest inventions in football, right, that didn't come from the IFAB is the word hate watch, right? Whoever started that thing, whoever christened that thing, hate
Honestly.
watch.
That person must have some real.
Do you understand?
Someone said, I went to bed in Italian. Tomorrow I wake up as a Frenchman. And I was like, this is me.
See that?
To four lower.
This idiot Yubby. He speak French and say, get out of this place.
On Wednesday morning I woke up a Frenchman.
There was a video.
Oh, man.
There was a video after the Barcelona elimination.
Yeah.
So apparently I think it was a viewing center, a common room. So the game don't end now. They don't celebrate. This guy in Yoruba, the guy finished it in Yoruba. He said Inter Milan Kwenu. They say, hey, Inter Milan Kwenu. Hey, Inter Milan Kwenu. He said Barcelona Kuya. You know what it means is that in Yoruba Barcelona is when they say Kuya. He said that means they don't beat you well. They beat you. Say, well done. They want to beat you.
One of the things I miss about watching games in view centers is you cannot leave before the final whistle.
Of course.
See that one by
You
one.
can't.
eh?
You can't.
You get the one that say, how would they come on now?
You get even if not be your team, they beat.
Bro, you can't leave.
Just wait because they
Wait.
go say you be the fan of the team.
Wait,
When they beat.
yes, one by one.
Just wait,
Bro.
They
They
don't.
go.
Bro.
That thing they cause fight too.
They go to beat
No,
table.
it's just fight.
Yes, I saw even yesterday. There were some. I saw one with the one Arsenal fan. They were racking.
Bro, the golden rule is people that don't know the golden rule. The golden rule is whatever you're doing, do it with your mouth.
Talk with your mouth, oh. Person, they boil up like this.
Do it with your mouth.
Even if you do it like this.
Well, now, Flash Score Boys don't spoil Vincent Tasha.
Baba,
Did they announce goal before?
Instead of flash cup.
Bro,
no, betting.
bro, I don't see two grown men fight for viewing center. Two grown men, bros like this when we say, you know what, bro, that time we small. This now bros the way we they look at fine boy, you don't grow, you don't come out university, you don't fight for
Because
viewing
of
center,
ball.
bench, scatter, come on, bro, because of football. Because they troll each other.
The emotion is.
Someone said Singapore is free for Ghanaians, right? South Africa is also free for Ghanaians. Interesting. So which country is now free for visa free for Nigeria?
Nigeria.
Someone said heaven, no. Someone replied and said, as a Nigerian, you still need visa to enter heaven. I said, that's why we have Christ Embassy.
Oh my god.
Okay, not joke. It's just, I'm reading for.
Yeah.
So the therapist so the problem is that you fall in love easily. Say yes, my love. Yeah, the therapist, the person that is so the problem he came to me is yeah. So, but I just wanted to ask before we start the show today because I think we're gonna have a good time as far as all
worry,
this
we're gonna have a
conversations
good
go.
time.
I want to ask. Clear this up, and I'm just looking for because I wrote the question down before we get into it. Is this what we saw? Was it better than Roma 2018, Anfield 2019? You know, remember the great comeback at Anfield.
Liverpool, Barcelona.
You know, definitely better than the Bayern Munich 8-2, which was great banter as well at the time. You know, this probably was the greatest. You know, hate watch plus.
I think sets of matches. I think the call of the two.
block, yeah.
I think because the Liverpool one, I mean, it was exceptional, but like the game itself,
Yeah.
you know, Barca crumbled.
Yeah,
but I'm talking
they
about like
crumbled
as an actual game.
yeah.
I think these two games,
Yeah.
and especially the Inter and Barcelona one.
Yeah.
I think they're, you know, I don't want to be like recency bias, but like
Yeah.
I can't remember two semifinals, two
That
times being
good.
so good.
Yeah,
I agree.
I can't.
The first leg and second leg, Inter,
yeah.
Barcelona.
Well, especially the second legs to end it. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was incredible.
One of the things I wanted to point out as well, and shout out to all the guys who, you know, make sure that every time, you know, we have this content, you know, we have a content bank and it's there. So admin is cutting and, you know, editor is cutting content down. And I just love the fact that people are waiting on our Instagram like this, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I'm getting notifications.
let's see.
There's a African cinema must not miss this episode. They must not miss this episode.
Totally.
I was just coming, I just saw a notification on Instagram says Cinema Juju don't expire.
No, it's too good. It's too good. It's really humbling that you guys make us, you know, that authority, and that's really special. And it's special because, you know, someone actually, I was gonna say this, and thank God I didn't forget it, because, you know, 2 weeks ago was your birthday, or 3 weeks ago, no? And someone said you need money, right?
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah,
that was really nice.
really special.
Nice taste.
Yeah.
Nice taste.
I tell you why that was poignant for me, because you know when we used to see that they don't buy one Big Brother babe moto. I said, can Nigeria really?
Is it real?
Is it real? You cannot be real. I used to argue
Look
like
at that show boys love now.
I said they say you need money. I said ini. I beg, this is when I start to December. I don't want your story. This is people have started now. I don't want you to say they should
More
bet.
grease to your elbow.
Now, honestly, that is such an
Kudus to you.
amazing community. Like when you go through the comments,
Yeah,
such
yeah.
an amazing.
Kudos to you, man.
amazing community.
You guys, I beg, keep it going. I beg.
And they know their stuff.
Mine is in December,
Yeah,
so you
they
have
do.
time to. No,
They
they
know
know
their
their
They
stuff.
know their
They
stuff.
know their stuff.
Some of the people I give the most credit to are people that would, in the comments, they will tell you that, bro, from
yeah.
day one,
Yeah.
I've been watching every episode.
That's their leading. You be like, so this guy on
Yeah.
on YouTube, and the YouTube one is the one that literally, like, you know, opens my head, because I mean YouTube is such a long form content bank that it's not the most easy thing to make a comment, right? Never mind make a paragraph trying to articulate your thoughts and in the belief that someone is going to see it, right? So this guy, you know, takes me up on the fact that, you know, I always have an agenda. And I actually welcomed the thing because I was like, you know, that's why I'm the register, absolutely. but the point is that is just special to have that intellectual, back and forth, and it really it's all love, and we appreciate that very much. The only thing I would say, however, is that we can have 100 comments on our Instagram, right? And out of those comments, like maybe 30 are following us. I'm like, how do you see the post?
Yeah.
So how do you see this? So please follow the page, right?
Yeah.
That would be really nice, right? I wanted to start off with this, and it is one of the most refreshing things in football. And we started with saying that this, in my opinion, if you were losing a bit of faith in the game and things like that, this probably just gives you a bit of it's gonna be all right, that kind of thing. But someone mentioned that how many times did we see players talk bad to the referee, right? Yeah, not once in the game. It was just a game that the referee was just in charge. The Barcelona game, for example, and this was in reference to, if you watch the Premier League a lot, you're constantly frustrated with the refereeing. But I don't remember the referee being the guy.
Because
the referee had a very good game.
Because these are the best. And like for instance, the Marcinier guy, he's probably up there with the very best referees in the world at the moment.
The Marcinier guy was the one who did the Barcelona game.
Yes. Yeah. Top guy.
Looked like Ovrebo though.
Yeah. Top guy. He did the World Cup final.
Yes.
That's the first time he really came into reckoning. And I thought that, I had a few grudges with him, which, it's not.
Was it about the comments about the 50-50s? I didn't see that.
No. The issue I had with him was there was a time Inter Milan we throw on goal and he blew the whistle. I thought that was diabolical.
He wasn't watching.
Maybe he wasn't watching, but I mean, he shouldn't have. But,
I think it's one of those where you make up your mind. I'm going to blow.
Yeah, but I also think that he controlled the game so well. Because if Barcelona and Real Madrid, and I call those two clubs out because they are the ones who always, with their posturing, try to influence
the referee.
They always want to do it, and even Barcelona. And it always feels like it's a culture because you see young players at Barcelona,
Speaking about Pedri,
Martinez, all these small children, they're, aggressively charging at the referee. They're trying to influence the referee. And the guy was at every point, stay back.
Yeah.
Stay back. He controlled the game. And it's a game that a Premier League referee would have given at least 2 red cards in that game. Because if you do not control yourself,
so
you're going to brandish red cards.
Sorry before you go. What made me make that comment is the original tweet was actually someone said, officiating in Europe is so refreshing, right? Because, on comms had Scherer and Klattenburg. They were getting things wrong. Like all the calls, they got it wrong. And so the person was English said, this country is just miles off it. And someone replied and said, how many times have players talked to the referee? And you see players talking to the referee and there was no one yellow card.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an ego thing.
Yeah.
You can talk,
which is what we
can speak to me.
Right?
Which
is what we said.
Let me explain why I've made the call I've made. I won't come here to make your life difficult.
Look at when
I'm coming to do my job.
Look at when he picked the Mkhitaryan foul on Lamine Yamal. He just raised his hand and said, very, very small. He's not he's outside
That's
of the
an
box.
excellent point, though.
We've talked about with Premier League referees, and I remember saying it here that these Premier League referees is either their egos are bigger than them or they're jealous of the players. I remember saying it here because they tend to want to make a point of you're not bigger than me. You have to stay. They want to make a point of
they're trying
because
to be,
you're a superstar, you're not bigger than me.
They're trying to be the star of the show.
So for you, especially in a game of football, you have to realize that for you to be a ref, it almost has to be like you're not there. For you to be the perfect ref.
I've had this conversation with you before, and I always say that, it's great when you see referees say referee by the letter of the law, referee by the book.
Yeah.
By all means, I always want
We
that.
have.
By all means, I always say referee by the book. But also discretion comes in. You have to understand the tempo of the game. You have to read the room, understand that there are certain decisions I will make, because in that Inter Milan game, there were a few early tackles that the referee could have gone, 60 minutes into the game, I would give you a yellow card for that. But you do not want to give an early yellow card and put someone under pressure, because once you give someone an early yellow card, you're almost like you're taking something out of his game because in his head he's conscious.
It's not a dangerous tackle. It's not.
So with Premier League referees, they always, the fronting is we're refereing by the book. We're doing by the letter of the law.
They're just horrible.
But
not
It's
understanding
incompetence.
context at all. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah, no,
understanding-
yeah,
understanding-
they're just
yeah,
horrible.
yeah. And I thought to make that point because just because I mean we've
The
spoken
standard
about
of the refereeing was really good.
yeah,
Really
we've
good.
spoken about how we
Really good.
enjoy the game, both teams, but I don't think anybody has made the points to because the referees are part of the game. Referees are a huge part of the
Yeah,
game, so it's
very
important
key part of the
to
game.
signpost that and say what we saw was beautiful. From the referee, I think it can go home knowing that they played a good part in making sure that the global audience.
You know,
had a good
sometimes
game, yeah.
I wonder. These referees are professionals, obviously, but sometimes you wonder whether they are sports people, like football people. Do in their leisure time? Do they sit down and watch football? Because I'm wondering. I'm Massiniak on that pitch. I'm seeing those. Lamine Yamal mesmerizing through. I'm like, wow. In his head, is he saying what a player?
Yeah.
I think you have to be, man, for you to be a top ref. If you're a footballer, like it might get boring to you. You do every day. You go training every day. It's not second nature.
Yeah.
Once it's the blast of the whistle, you can get into motion and start playing. As a referee, I don't think you can be at your best. You can get to the highest level without watching the game to the point where you understand the game. You have to understand the game. Like you have to know the game.
Yeah. I was just looking at so of course we're in the group and we're texting all through the game and someone makes the point and says, I think it was Rufai who said, Acerbi is 37, bro. Mkhitaryan is 36, Noglu is 31.
36. Yeah, Chanu is 31.
31 and Wale said now where football is for Italian Serie A.
This Wale don't get
That is when Serie A
At
football
that
is
time, football is sweet for Syria.
for Serie A.
Which guy you dey mad?
Once you are 37,
At that time, you don't
thanks for your
begin
debut.
sweet.
Welcome. Bring him. I need him.
So from 20 to 30, what did they do?
No, go Premier League. No, we don't need you here.
He did for Mafia.
We don't need.
You dey hear 17-year-old for Syria.
No, you don't. Just something.
The only Premier League is a prodigy. Talent.
What?
Now Spain and England, you dey hear that nonsense. You dey hear 17-year-old. Baba, for Italy, you go to play Primavera. There's one.
Yeah.
19, 20, you see they play that.
You see they play am.
Yeah.
Go
Now
and build
23,
character.
now
Yeah.
23, you they ready. They put you on. They
Yeah.
say it's a prodigy.
I saw a tweet from the Profound Solace, and I wanted us to start with that. And Solace is one of the best writers you'd find in this country, and he said, "Look, so Solace and Rufai were going on about this thing. I think Rufai actually, Wale actually made the point and said, your tactic cannot be to outscore the opposition. Can't work all the time. And I think Solace made the point that this is, more results-based analysis and things like that. And I just wanted to say that I'm just going to put the tweet out. I'm going to find it, but yeah. So what I wanted to say is that
No, I can find it for you.
you saw two systems, in my opinion. You saw two systems of football.
Yeah.
One builds on the outscoring template. Pretty much like what Brazil used to do back in the day. You come and play. We have. Can you risk? Yeah, that we have. Yeah. So Soles said, there is no single tactic that works all the time, right? Trying to limit chaos and play the margins doesn't work all the time either, which is pretty much,
which is true.
So just ask Arsenal. And I love the back and forth between, Rufai, Solis and Wale as well. But what I can say for sure is that we saw two systems, right? One is built to outscore, one is built to control, pretty much. And we've had the privilege of watching the game for at least, a couple of decades. But we saw this as a neutral, right? And I'd love to be on either side of the divide. I'd love to have Lamine Yamal on my team, causing chaos, right? I'd love to see them Rafinha doing the madness they're doing, Pedri orchestrating in midfield. I'd love to be on that side as well. But I think that side you can only be on that side if you have a generational talent like Lamine Yamal, right? So I love it. I don't have a problem with it. But I also love to be on the side that recognizes that we are not the strongest team in this moment. So we have to approach the game from a more control perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that is sensible. That's just sensible management. It's just sensibility it's just responsible adulting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? Ange Postecoglou, for example, right, plays the same exact thing Barcelona play. High line, midfield, press. You don't have Yamal on your team.
Yeah. So I would say,
not just Yamal. You don't have Pedri.
have Pedri on your team.
You don't have Frankie De Jong in your
Pedri.
team.
So I'll say, so question to you, so how with Inter,
Yeah.
would you say it's sensible or would you say that they don't have the players to like. So you say it's sensible, like, okay, maybe they could do it that way, but we're going to be sensible, or is it like they play like the only way they can play against a team like that? You get what I'm saying?
I think it's the only
I think
way.
it's
It's the only way they
Because
can.
now
I get the
saying?
point.
So
Yeah.
it's like you know how we say some managers are like, you know, very, very maybe cautious or they're pragmatic and things like that. So do you feel like if Inzaghi had, let's say, the exact same team that Barca had, obviously it probably won't be to that extent, but he probably won't be as sensible as he's being with
Yeah,
Inter.
I think.
It probably won't be because
I think-
because you have it probably won't be, and I say that understanding what Emeka has asked, because you have to work with the tools you have.
Because it plays to your strengths, right?
Because people, we use the word, you know, coach, manager a lot, right? But I prefer the word manager, because a manager actually sees things from a 360 perspective. So I have Lamine Yamal in my team, right? But I have a terrible right back. I don't have Pedri in my team. So what do I need to do? I might need to make sure that, you know, if Lamine Yamal loses the ball, we have cover. So the word manager is pretty much somebody who sees things from a different perspective, you know, who basically maximizes our strengths and limits our flaws, right? So I probably think he would tweak to fit the team he has. That's what I
So
think.
in that regard, if you bring a Simone Inzaghi to the Barcelona team, because of what his philosophy is at first, he probably is thinking, okay, we need to find a solution to this thing where defensively we are not very solid.
Yeah.
For example, as fantastic as Lamine Yamal was over both legs, the 3-3 goal, they were leading 3-2. They kept on flying on. The 3-3 goal was a ball.
Yeah.
I think it was a pass to Lamine Yamal
No, there was
that he tried to
pass
score.
to Pedri, and then Pedri
Pass
passed
to Lamine Yamal. He tried to score.
Yeah, could have gone-
He missed, or the goalkeeper saved.
No, he came
played
off
a goal
he
kick.
came off the foot of the post.
He came up. Yeah, that's the one that came on the foot of the post. The goalkeeper went the other end
And scored.
So that's why, from the conversation with Solis, for example, he said, "Oh, you are the one calling what Barcelona does chaos." But that's why we call it chaos. You know, I'm sure in the dressing room at Barcelona with Flick, they're not calling it chaos. I'm sure they're calling it attacking. This is how we play, whatever. But the reason we call it chaos is right there. It's like,
So for me, I think so. We have this like these discussions every time, like in terms of like balance play versus, you know, a bit chaotic gung ho, or like for me. So the reason why they got back into that game, they got ahead in that game, they dominated that game in that way, is because of that chaotic style.
Yeah.
So it's like, so we were talking before the show started, like, so that strength is almost a weakness, right? Because that naivety and that risk taking, like,
Exactly.
like almost every time we're watching the game, it looked like Inter, like if they just made 2 or 3 passes, they could always go in behind. And I'm
Yes.
like,
Yes.
and I'm watching like, how are you? But that is why, like, if it's their record this season has been amazing. So it's that same naivety and chaotic style.
like, how do you win
Has been
football
working for
matches?
them.
Yeah.
But then I guess that is now a bit of a weakness. But
Yeah.
it's like almost like I find it hard to now be like, don't play that way, because that is what gives them success.
no. I don't
and the
think.
worst
I don't
thing-
think
the
you say.
worst
Senior
thing-
man,
okay.
I don't think you say you can't play that way. Me, I've always been of the opinion, your manager, for example, and Yubby says that a lot as well. Your manager has to play
Talk
the
on
game
first,
with
make I
you.
know before.
Make it say I dey rope you. Now.
Say, guarantor. Let me see what I
Let me see what I'm guaranteeing. No. Make it say that jail. So your manager has to play the game with you. And I saw, I don't want to say Flick didn't do it. Maybe he did it, I didn't see it, but I saw it more with Inzaghi. That's why the now with the tie, he was, the rain was pouring in his suit. That's why that happened, because everybody saw the fact that this guy was playing the game with his team. At some point, it was almost.
I think it's hash.
No, that's why I said I don't know if Flick did it and I did not see it.
Right.
But everybody saw
He plays
Inzaghi.
and that's
At
how
some
he
point,
is. He
it
plays the game with his team.
At some point, it was as if he was almost on the touchline.
Yeah,
He was telling them, "You're not."
yeah.
So, and why that is significant is you have to play the game with your team. You have to know maybe when the game is ongoing, they can hardly hear you. But if you are that close and you're trying to tell them this is what we need to do, because this can be your style. But you score 3-2, 87th minute.
Yeah.
That can be your style.
Yeah.
You have 2 minutes left in extra time. 5 minutes extra time was given. The 3rd minute, you were still leading 3-2. Why do you have only 4 players defending? So you can play however you like. And if you look at Barcelona as well, and that was another point I was making to Solis, the style of play that you employ, we attack and we're not so good defensively. It might not be a significant problem when you play a lot of games where your quality is overwhelming the opposition. Or you play all these teams where like Yamal hits them for breakfast. You play all these teams where player for player, you are better than them.
Yeah.
It might not be significant, but when you play the bigger games, because at the end of the day, towards the end of the season, it is the bigger games that would eventually determine what happens, the outcome of your season. Those bigger games against more quality oppositions, you need a bit more tact. You need a bit more strategy to scale through eventually. Not that you will have to maybe change your style. Totally.
You need a bit more micromanagement. And Rufai makes a good point there, because I was trying to find how we land that quite well. And I had to look for Solis's tweet. I think he would like the fact that I'm referencing his tweet, because he's not here to make the argument so eloquently well. But I think when you say you saw one manager on the touchline, micromanaging details and making sure that in case there is mental fatigue, I understand. I remember what I told you.
Yeah.
I remember what we need to. I'm not playing, so my brain is a bit more sharper than you guys. I can see. You saw in juxtaposition to another manager who totally trusts the culture and the singularity of the message he has set.
And he's always played like that.
And the singularity of the message is that we're playing this high line, right? No matter what happens in the game, you stay here, you press, you go hard, you understand? I thought it was a complete contrast.
It's
when you say
madness.
complete I don't think it's madness. I think
It is.
I
Like,
think, no.
see, go and watch that game again. You will know it's madness.
I think it's if you say that, I think it's madness.
But it's good madness.
It's beautiful madness.
Good madness.
But it is probably one of the most. The word knife edge is used a lot, but it's probably one of the clearest. It's like a because you think about the last action, Yamal, and you call it chaos, and I understand why you call it chaos. Yamal goes, shoots, hits the crossbar, right, the foot of the post, right.
That's where I was going.
Right.
So I think there's a bit of like the success bias, like how it played out.
Yeah.
Because like again,
If that had gone in.
the reality, like my thinking is I'm more on you guys' side about the management and like but playing devil's advocate, I think there's a bit of success bias, because first of all, like when Rufai and I picked Inter to go through, a lot of our thinking was Inter, they'll control
so you
the
won't be
game.
back and forth like that.
They can obviously hit on the break, but they will kind of neutralize Barca as much as they can.
Yeah.
This chaos and this style of play, they Rufai was talking about, knowing the quality of the opposition. They absolutely battered Inter Milan, especially like I've never seen.
Yes.
Like, this was like one of like the two games. I knew Barca were good offensively, but I think that the wave of attacks.
Yeah.
So again, for them to do this is this style of play.
Yeah.
Like to overwhelm a team like Inter Milan.
Yeah.
So I do agree that there needs to be that, that management, but it's at the same time, then it's not like, okay, because they happen to lose that game.
Lose that game.
If Yamal now scored that, like, oh my God.
Then
you see,
it
I agree
consolidates
with-
their position. Why we do this?
See, so again, with how the tie has gone, I can't fault Barcelona. I don't have a problem with them playing that way. But I have a feeling, because you see, here's another point. At 4-3, now, shit is real. Everything we have been doing since the start of the game is about to end up not amounting to anything. What did Barcelona do? They started spamming Yamal. Every time they had the ball, they were going to Yamal. Why is that? It's the best player on your team.
Yeah.
If your system was that foolproof,
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's a good point.
so they started going to Yamal. Because at the end of the day, the system, it felt, this thing not the
Okay,
shape.
The system is
for you guys.
predicated on.
I have a question.
On
I have
this
This guy,
overwhelming
yeah.
quality that this guy alone can provide.
Yeah. Rufai, that's a really good
I have a
point.
question for you guys. So you guys, I know, especially Rufai and Yubby, I know.
Leave out Rufai and leave me out of it.
I know the type of managers
Leave me out of
these guys like. Well, my question for you is on Arteta.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, Arteta is closer to that type of manager you guys like. Because if you watch that game yesterday, any avenue you can exploit, whether it's long throw, whether it's corner, Arteta will do anything. And
They had
teams
it,
are robust, things like that.
Yeah.
So my question is, why don't you guys maybe rate him as much? One, and two, is it that is your belief in a manager's style and system, is it just based on the trophy? So Mourinho, you like Mourinho or this thing because he ends up with the trophies, or is it more about the fact that what Arteta is doing is more in line with what you are doing, what you think is the right approach? So where you need to be pragmatic, you need to be pragmatic, but because he has not achieved those results yet, you don't give him that credit.
So I think I've answered this question before. So I'll answer it.
I never hear.
No, I think I've answered it in different ways. First of all, professional sport at that level is about winning.
Yeah.
Number one. Let's be
That's
clear on
how
that.
you're going to be judged
That's how,
eventually.
that's how you're going to be judged.
But the approach.
With Arteta, you are very correct. I think he has all this, management, strategy. He has all of that. But like I've said, repeatedly about Arsenal, what is currently holding his team back? It could be two things. In my mind, I can only think of those two things. The first one would be Arteta himself, maybe he's convinced that this team that I currently have, I don't need to spend, or I don't need so much quality again in these positions. I can do it with this team.
Trash that.
That's one.
Trash that.
That-
It's a silly thing to say.
That
A manager
could be-
would think that this team.
Relax now, because I cannot
Trash
understand
that.
for the life of me. They gave you,
No, that's a question directly.
yeah, they gave you the free hand to buy.
They didn't give him
Now
the
that's
free
what
hand.
senior man. Now
That's
me they ask
BS.
question.
That's
Because
BS.
I don't want to divert the
Now me they
conversation.
ask
No,
question.
that's why I want
BS.
to answer
The second
quickly,
thing,
yeah.
the second thing, and I said it even on that thread, is the same. So it's about you have everything good. You saw that Mourinho interview, this Mourinho interview that you referenced, where they asked him that when you got to Inter Milan, they asked him about the Inter Milan winning title. He said, when I got to Inter Milan, I said, I had a fantastic president, Mr. Marotta. He asked
I saw
what
that.
do we need to win the Champions
Champions
League?
League.
He said, I told him, I need a fast centre back so I can
Centre-back.
play a higher line.
Lucio.
I need a creative midfielder. They gave me Snyder.
Snyder.
And I need a striker that can be there for us. I need to score. We bought Milito
Milito.
from Genoa. He said, we had everything else, temperament, emotion that we need, experience, friendship among the players. We had everything else, but we needed those three things. And those were the things I asked for, and they gave it to me. That answers the question for me with Arsenal. You have everything that you need.
But it doesn't.
And like I said, for me, Arsenal always get found out when it matters most based on quality deficiency,
Yeah.
not style.
I agree.
Based on quality deficiency,
So you
not
like
style.
so his approach. So his,
I don't have any problem. Look at PSG. We agree that PSG
I
are
said we
the
don't
most.
divert it.
Yeah. So I like Arteta. I've always said. I think I've said it a couple of times. I like the manager. I do think that he is. I do think that he understands. So a lot of people, he has the Pep endorsements, which is how he got the
Yeah,
job, right?
yeah.
The Pep endorsements, right? Which is our company. That's the strongest endorsement in football. Pep endorses you, you're getting the job, right?
Yeah.
Directly or indirectly. yeah. But I like the fact that even though you would see him from the school of thoughts from Pep, he has managed to put his. You can see what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try and do this people's thing. If we need to defend, we defend low, and we do. And I agree with right. I think it's lack of quality. But my problem with Arteta is the stubbornness.
Exactly. That's
the,
why I
stu-
said
the stubbornnness to want to earn stubbornness are on different levels. To earn ultimate stubbornness, like
Stubbornness.
Mourinho, you have to win.
you have to
Yeah,
win.
of course.
You get
I
it?
agree.
And you have to
I agree.
recognize that winning gives you the currency.
He
He gives you the
back.
currency.
You understand?
Black check.
So you people can talk about Mourinho from now till eternity. You understand? He has finished, washed, game and left him behind. You get
Talk about
until tomorrow.
2 Champions League.
you
You win and we put the
You bring
throw him
you
to the crowd.
You understand?
I've
so
won it.
You say,
It's mine.
after all, people came and beat you here. You say 100 points at Real Madrid. You talk. If you when you are putting him in the corner finally, you say the 121 charges, I mean 15 charges. You get so that win. See that winning, when you
It
win,
cures all.
it cures all.
Yeah.
and
I absolutely agree.
yeah,
I
and I want to wrap that up. Sorry, Ini, I want to wrap that up. Go for it.
So, my opinion on Arteta, and I think he's a brilliant manager. I saw a group of very unkind Arsenal fans. Asking, move the manager on.
Because we'll stick it to Arsenal. That's why I'm saying you shouldn't make Arsenal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So let's mix the finishes up with this long conversation with end of the day, right? The tie ended 7-6, right? And after 210 minutes,
wow.
there was a penalty,
Cricket
an
score.
own goal, multiple outrageous saves, and woodwork ratings, rattlings rather, and a 93rd minute equalizer to force extra time. margins were that fine.
Yeah.
I've never seen a game have such finer margins. If you're making the Inter versus Barcelona game about being found out, it is result-based analysis, right? And
That's really sound.
and I agree with that, right? But you see, again, the thing about having stubbornness is when you win. So please, all the people that I predicted that Inter will win, please raise your glass.
What's that?
We predicted it.
What's that?
So
We
when I
told you.
result based,
We told you that one concern you. We told you what's gonna
whatever
happen.
happened in the game, as a better whistle. Oh, I
My
was
brother,
ecstatic.
my
I was
brother.
like, we would have lost at least 100 followers.
See, let me tell you something.
We would have lost a lot of
Let me
fans.
tell you something.
Because a lot of people were waiting for us, like, do you this answer podcast?
You will
people,
say
eh?
this thing.
You will say you will beat it. So but I was like, you see, I watched the game from a passion point, but this one was our business.
Yeah. No,
Yes,
I was supporting Inter like it was
I was
my
supporting,
club.
bro. I was supporting Inter.
My neck is on the line. Oh.
And you know the funny thing, that second leg. Truly, when I now eventually went to see the
I
game,
tweeted that in the group. I said that the game is done.
bro, do you understand? I mean, I was sitting
Barcelona.
amongst Barcelona fans. So I dey watch my emotions because I don't want my person come watch me. So as I first they lead them 2-0, I just Barca, don't worry. Time still day.
You dey hedge.
You get at the edge. Because my person don't go beat me. Say you, what did they worry you for here? Because I don't get. Now only me go. Nobody follow me go. Now only me stay. You understand? So when match end, we all of them don't first go. Now that time I see them say yes.
What a game! Please play back.
I've gone to watch an MPFL game before. True story. I've gone to watch an MPFL game before somewhere in the West. I don't want to mention the place. You know, Aqua United went there and said, oh, it's close by. Let me dash it and see Aqua United. So I'm sitting in the crowd and, these, fans speaking Yoruba, cheering on. Yeah, Aqua score.
You go learn Yoruba by force.
I don't pull up for guy. I do like
You dey punch the air under
I
the
just
table.
put out for God. They do like this. And they look around. If I mistakenly say go, they
For that place,
go beat me.
No, but speaking of Nigerian league, guys. Speaking of Nigerian
Don't
league,
try have.
I was like, this is the one time that I would have respected Nigerian league because see as that match be 4-3.
Yeah.
You get Barca fans, Nigerian league, they don't off stadium, they don't play,
off
they
light
don't off light. They make everybody they go out. We don't
in the corner.
you don't tell.
You where they lead that 4-3. Now you go tell referee say, I take God beg.
Allow us to lose this game and leave. So that's the one time APFL would have been very important. Okay? Very, very, very important. But it's just all jokes, man. But I wanted to wrap up this part of the Inter Milan Barcelona conversation with saying that, and this is, I have to say this because when we have made the analysis of the game Inter Barcelona, we have been conscious enough to realize that this was two styles you could enjoy watching, right?
Yeah.
Right. But make no mistake about it, not many teams in the world can play the Barcelona Highline.
Yeah.
You get
No,
not
not
many teams can do it.
Are you
and
crazy?
Can play against them.
Can
Like
play
that,
play how they're
approach
playing,
games like that.
Yes.
can play what they're doing. It takes
No, yeah, no.
Because
Look at their results. Look at their
I
results.
think it's the flick thing.
yeah.
Their
Because
results.
when he was at Bayern,
Yeah.
remember we're saying, like,
It was the same.
why would you
They
play?
were playing such
Yeah.
high intensity
Why
as
would
well.
you play such high line? They
Yeah.
played against Man City. I think it's Man City they played and they beat Man City. And we're like, wow.
No, it's
how
flick.
how
Yeah,
could
it's
how
flick,
could you
it's flick.
play like that?
Flick.
Yeah. So not many teams can do it, right? And you can't even do it if you don't have kids. But I wanted to also, in saying that, because we know the Barcelona heritage, we know their identity, we know their history. It's such a storied football club. But Inter are not as storied as Barcelona, right? At least not across globally.
Yeah.
But it was important for me in wrapping up all of this to say that we have seen a football club that is, in my opinion, carving its identity in the modern game, right? And you talk about Real Madrid, you talk about Arsenal, you talk about, Man United, have clear identity. United have that. Ferguson is the identity, he had
Yeah.
Real Madrid have identity. Barcelona have one. Italian clubs, as AC Milan have one for sure, 7-time Champions League winners. But for Inter Milan, I was watching the game and I was thinking that the identity off the back of the 2010, right?
Mourinho.
And what we've done, what we've seen is a club that have found a way to make sure that their teams always, in key moments, perform greater than the sum of its parts. That is the identity, right? They are not. I mean, they've had Ronaldo and Nazario. They're not always going to have the biggest stars in the world, but in my opinion, that Italian identity is that when it comes to it, we would dig deeper and find things that you may not be able to. I
think it's an Italian football thing, because there was a period that Italian football was almost going to extinct. Their teams were not doing well on the continent.
Yeah.
They were getting knocked out in the group stages. But in the last 5-6 years, it feels like there is a clear identity.
Inter have been
Roma,
because getting guys off the bench come and score.
Fiorentina in the lesser competitions. Milan were in the semi-finals a few years ago. Inter were in the final a few years ago. So it feels like they are gradually getting back to the glory days.
I think it's interesting you mentioned that, because I was going to in the build up to today, I was going to talk about the guy behind the scenes for them. That basically built this team, right? So it's the same guy that built the Juventus team that had Allegri that almost won the Champions with Beppe Marotta.
Yeah, Marotta.
Yeah.
So clearly you can see the pattern. It's exactly the same thing. So in the last 10 years, he's built two teams that have gotten to the Champions League final, I think maybe 3 times now.
Yeah.
Juve got
Juve got
then
twice.
Inter Milan the second time now. So probably one of the best, because I'm thinking names in my head, one of the best, team or squad builders, that this game has seen in recent times. And he comes in there, he knows how to get some of the best players for cheap or for nothing.
Yeah.
Jan Sommers for free, I think.
They gave us for
5 million.
Bro.
5 million, and they bought
Jonathan,
Sommer for 5 million.
5 million.
Lautaro Martinez come in there, they got Thuram, they got Mkhitaryan, Çalhanoğlu, and they now, fair enough. That's why also I couldn't give them too much extra credits that their players are older. It's a deliberate, when you got that kind of transfer policy
strategy,
you are gonna have players, at the latter stages of their career, but really good players. So it's a plan. So they have a fine blend of that old experience and youth, and they know how to bring it together. And he's done such an amazing job.
It's such a great job. It's important to mention that. So
their depth is incredible.
This is their DNA.
The
It's
depth
so
in their
good.
squad, because you have DiMarco at left back. You have Augusto, at left back. You have Denzel Dumfries at wing back. You have Damian. Damian looked like he was going to retire.
When they were leading 4-3, they brought on the right.
Yeah, brought on the right. I think the DNA is fantastic. And it's such a. For me, the DNA is, we might not have your Messi here, generational talents. We don't have the great academies that churn out these players. But when we're at the big stage, we'll fight till the end.
Those guys were dead on their feet.
Oh yeah,
they were.
He was so tired.
He was scared.
I remember the Çalhanoğlu picture. He was gone.
And you know what's crazy was, Inter 2-0 up halftime. In my mind, I'm thinking, Inter will have to come into the second half and they want to block everywhere. So I was shocked at the start of the second half. The way Barcelona rushed these guys, Mkhitaryan was moving like he wanted to fall.
Yeah. It was really good stuff. I wanted to ask finally. Who had a better performance over 2 legs, Dumfries or Lamine Yamal?
It has to be Lamine Yamal.
No, I think the person that had the most impact had to be Dumfries for me. I think Yamal is obviously a generational player, more dangerous, but Dumfries had more goals, more assists, more goals.
First player to involve in 5 goals.
Exactly, a right wing back, and like the running he did.
Yeah.
Always capitalizing on the spacing.
After coming back from injury,
having to also still be a defender.
Yeah.
And again, I think when you look at it pound for pound, like with the goals, the assists, plus the position, the defending, the running, and he won. Yeah. I think I would. But Yamal, of course,
he's the best.
I want to say that because
has been
it's the
in the past
especially.
2 years.
So when I mentioned to Rufai as well, when I talk about Amorim and all these things. Specialist.
I tell him,
and I put out that tweet as well. It's actually
specialist.
How many episodes when I tell you, you guys gotta get Dumfries?
No. You said that.
Imagine like having like maybe like a Dalu or someone like so when you have a specialist in that position,
yes,
you can transform the whole system.
That guy
is
like
specialist.
See, if you see
specialist,
DiMarco.
Let me tell you,
DiMarco is not a brilliant left back. That's why.
Let me tell you.
That's why they take him off.
Let me tell you.
When Yamal starts to weave.
Did you see
DiMarco on forward watch?
No.
Did you see
No, or left,
Bro.
like the wing back, left.
There
is no one better than him in
if
Europe.
there's anything,
Federico Di Marco.
if there's
No,
anything
make
that
it
we have
look
gotten, if there's anything that we have confirmed now, you see that way Barcelona they play, it's not easy to play against them. They are wired to wear you down. They will see. So and you see the way Inter Milan. Speaking of these specialists, the way Inter Milan said that it's so amazing that.
We don't talk about this part already now.
No, it's what we're talking about now. It's not about
simple question.
It's talking about specialists.
Yamal, you don't go enter.
It's talking about specialists. I make my own point about specialists. Why they cut me now? I don't forget. Now you don't make me lose my train of thought. Anyways, the point was specialists.
Yeah.
The way what Dumfries does in that team, I always wonder how does he get back to defend? Because when they have the ball, the way he's positioned, the way he's positioned almost like he's a winger that doesn't have any business
and
defending.
Barcelona just played into his hands.
They played into his hands.
By the way, he can't defend much.
They played into his hands. Because in the first leg,
they played into his hands.
In the first leg, at 3-3, in the first leg, if you see that game again, the guy was almost crying.
He was shouting.
They gave, what's his name? That Taremi that came here and played nonsense in the first leg. They gave Taremi ball 3 times. Dumfries is standing like this on the line.
On the line.
He's asking, play the ball.
it there.
The idiot is turning.
He's turning. Bro,
What are you-
why
why
you
you
turning?
turning?
And then there is this brother too, Bastoni. That one that's from center back will go and
Bastoni's-
occupy half space. I don't understand it.
Bastoni is Rolls Royce.
Dumfries for you.
The reason I said Yamal,
For me, it's Yamal.
The reason I said Yamal, and I see what, because at the end of the day, the output says I had more impact on the game. Scored this goal and
But
assist.
impact was there
But-
because like you could see what he was trying to do. I guess
Exactly.
it's not as brilliant, but it's not just. I'm not just saying it's goals and assists, but
Yeah.
like you could actually also see like the hard running and the impact and like how he stretched that Barcelona.
Yeah, the
formation.
reason I'm thinking Yamal is, bro,
skills.
of course the skills, but not
No,
just
I mean
the
skills. Like,
Alpha, relax. When you think of the game in its entirety and the moments, the exciting moments, the magic in both ties.
Sat players on the
I
ground.
was like, this brother
Like,
was doing that. Do you know what somebody did on Twitter? Somebody took a compilation of his entire whatever both legs and inverted it. I swear you think you are watching Neymar.
Give the hard workers their.
that's
due.
what-
Yamal is obviously one of the best players in the world, but
again,
you have to give-
it makes my point exactly because I think that I analyze output with talents and investments, right? So analyze, for example, Man City with the level of the investments to the output. The level of investments means that you must be either number 1 or number 2, right? So if I see, what David Moyes has done, for example, or what Sean Dyche, I'll say that's the manager of the year for me because the output is not commensurate to the input. Rather, was not commensurate to the output. Dumfries is a talented right back, no doubt, wing back, no doubt. But Lamine Yamal is the best young player in the world, if not the best player in the
But
world.
he's 17
right,
too.
Right? No, but
He's
again, but he's 17. But again, you heard.
and we call him, and he's got his credit.
Yeah,
we
we
call
call
him one of the
yeah.
best players in the world.
But again, you also heard the quote that if you're good enough, what's the quote again?
Yeah. If you are good enough,
You are good enough. You are old enough.
You're old enough. So I think it has to come to a point where we say this age is, yes, this data is fact, but for this kid, it's insignificant. This kid is just
No,
this
so
kid.
far, it's insignificant.
This
is Yamal.
He's amazing.
This kid
Football too easy for
this
this
kid is an
boy.
ancestor.
I said
understand?
football too easy for this boy.
It's ridiculous.
You know the funny
Because
thing?
again,
Yeah.
the kid. Lionel Messi had for me a natural cheat code. And another player that had a natural cheat code was Garrincha, for example. You remember Garrincha? Garrincha's, his 2 legs are not.
Yeah.
So just by moving, because one leg is sort of longer than the other, just by moving, he steps a shoulder. Do you get? Just natural. He's just trying to move. Step a shoulder, and you are gone.
44 people don't come.
Messi center of gravity is solo.
Yeah.
You can't get the ball off him.
You can't get him off the. You can't get the ball off him. You can't kick him like that easily. Lamine Yamal is at least is 5'7"
Yes.
or 5'8".
No, he's taller than that.
He's
though.
taller. I think
it's-
he's almost
it's-
6.
it's-
Abi.
it's-
Yeah,
like-
he's like 5'11".
The kid's balance is incredible.
Yeah.
Like this kid should be falling. Ronaldo used to fall. They used to cut Ronaldo like cut him off. You get
like the things he does.
He be turning,
you know,
turning.
in
I'm like, why he
tight
turning like
space.
this?
My God.
Like I was looking at this boy in the first leg. I'm like, this boy. Do you know you are playing with your grandfather?
The way Arsenal were crying for Lamine Yamal yesterday.
it's almost as if
My
he wants
God.
to
Like,
he wants to
bro,
reinvent
my
his
God.
Zidane speed.
I think what I see is just when someone is just supremely confident in
Yeah,
their ability.
yeah, in their abilities.
He knows he's good. Like
Yeah.
and he obviously has that personality as well. Like I said, the whole time Barcelona they were giving the ball
They were
to a
giving the ball.
17-year-old.
Bro.
A Ballon d'Or supposed like like Rafinha,
Yeah,
Ballon
yeah.
d'Or. Like they were giving it to this boy.
Yeah.
To this boy.
And every time he go, he doesn't care.
was
He
taking
go,
them on.
Go.
Taking them on.
I think last time I saw a player like
Incredible.
that
Incredible.
on the ball was Kaka. You know, Kaka used to have this. You know, people.
I think
you
it's
know,
Neymar.
You know, Kaka doesn't have the
Young
period.
Neymar.
You know, Neymar's really
Young
good as well.
Neymar.
Like
Right.
that supreme, like
Yeah.
you just know
Confidence.
You're,
You're right.
You're
You're
so
right.
good on the ball.
And I've said it here too. That confidence, most of the time, and that's how you separate, you know, the world class and the world beaters. The
Generational.
confidence most always comes with time. The more you do it, the more confident you are. But at very, very, very rare occasion, you find a 16, 17-year-old boy that doesn't
That they don't care.
If you like, take him to Mars.
Rooney,
See, Baba?
Rooney, Mbappe,
Yamal, these guys,
Yamal, yeah.
R9, like they don't care.
They don't care.
I saw.
You
I
people say I'm 17. Me, I'm playing football.
I
I'm playing football.
I saw the video. I can't remember who was, spitting out heresy on this table. That Rooney was not.
He says he's not confident. He says he's not
I
confident.
was, I
I'm like,
smashed
see,
the table in my house. I'm like,
He says he's not confident.
Waza. That scored against Arsenal.
Put him on the bench.
And the commentator said, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming 16-year-old Wayne Rooney."
You know how you even know the confidence.
Recency bias is the thing.
You know how you know
Rooney.
the thing now. You know how you even know the confidence.
Hey, God.
IBK said it was only aggressive. You see, that's how you know that. What IBK didn't understand was that
Rooney.
for you at 16 to lose the ball and chase the person down at that time, the kind of football that was happening at that time, you don't understand the level the mindset
Rooney had
was.
everything.
He had everything, bro.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Whether it's hustle, whether it's technique, shooting, passing.
Well, shout out to Yamal, man. Shout out to Yamal,
bro.
Shout out to Barcelona.
That
Shout out to Inter Milan.
Yeah, what a-
that was
what
a
a-
hell of a time.
That was a really good game.
Messi showered him.
So Lamar for you.
He put a hand on him, and
Dumfries.
greatness followed.
Dumfries for both of us,
Things
right?
in this life,
Right.
Bro, the spiritual controls the physical.
I
Don't let anybody whine you.
I agree. And someone,
Don't let anybody whine you.
I totally agree with that. All right. So that's really good, and that was special.
Vex.
Yeah.
Somebody said that God, Inter Milan, what you have done for the world. If to say Barcelona don't win, he said if to say Barcelona don't win, bro. He said this Rafinha, if I don't go inside that Inter Milan dressing room, but he go come break camera and join them. He say because he go shake them, because he won't win Ballon d'Or. Inter Milan, thank you very much,
Bro.
for stopping this nonsense.
Bro,
He say you go do campaign for the other dressing room.
They go do campaign.
totally special. Right? My Wi-Fi is not working, so I think Wale has to come and sort me out. Cause my bookmarks are. We need to finish up. Anyway, so we touched base with that. I want us to also touch base. Let's touch base with the Arsenal game, right? And this is a game that I thought. Yeah, someone mentioned that senior man, because he don't come studio, I aim this year because I say don't tell us say. The middle will not have green grass to run into now.
You get.
And I don't know if you've seen the Bible school students getting here. I don't know if you know the Bible passage about Joshua when his hands were up, the Israelites were winning. And when his hands were down, he was losing. Have you seen that? You don't know that passage? Come on now, Book of Bible Stories. Come on, it was a famous story. Book of Bible
Yeah, of
Stories.
course.
Yeah. So he needs the Joshua of
I'm
Arsenal.
the cause of this
Yeah,
defeat.
Timber go
Come to the studio.
Timber go tweet. What did he tweet? This Joshua.
Oh yeah, they said scripture.
Joshua
2029.
Somebody replied and said, yes, February 29.
Someone reply and say Dembele 316.
He said, God don't try for now.
Yeah.
Make another person win.
But I want to start by one of the things I try to do when I watch the game is, and as opposed to what people feel, that I always have a steady agenda and I don't move from it sometimes. Whilst that might be a good observation, I want to say that I have seen a change in in Luis Enrique's approach.
I was shocked.
Right. And
said that.
and as a result, I think I'm on the Lucho tree.
I still don't like it.
No,
but I was shocked.
I'll tell you why. I think like it's important for managers to understand the quality they have, and you almost feel like we're going in circles, but we're going to be real quick about this one because Maker has to leave in a bit. I've maintained that if you coach Lionel Messi or Ronaldo in the last 12, 15 years, you must have won one Champions League title, a plethora of league titles. So it wasn't a surprise to me when Enrique won the treble with Barcelona, right? And fair or unfair, it's one of the reasons I've never really put him up there. You know, because when you win a treble, it means that you're a generational talent. That's what it should generally translate to. But I have not been keen to see him like that.
Because after you go win, we can't look at that team. The wonders are waiting.
Because again, anybody who watched Barcelona, Pep Guardiola won the treble. He came immediately after won the treble. Tito Villanova could have won the treble as well. Do you get? What that tells me is that the players there were system proof. Like, I don't care what the manager is doing. You can't tell Messi and Ronaldo and Xavi and Busquets, these players that you will never see them again. So yes, the manager is the manager wearing a suit, but these guys are going to do what they do. You get? So, but I've seen a detour in his approach, not a detour per se, total 360, but an iteration of the approach that tells me that the manager is a top manager.
Has grown to some
a
level.
top manager. A top manager. When you watch the way they approach the game, and you mentioned it, you know, even without knowing where I was going at the start of the podcast, the alteration of how they played in the first, they played that way because Partey was not on the pitch, right? And if you watch his press conference after the game, right, he realizes that he tells you that Arsenal were dominant in phases of the game, and we have to do what we have to do. That's not Enrique. That's
Yeah, that wasn't Enrique.
you know
That's not the Catalonian.
that's not Enrique. You know, and when I see things like I see him play his security insurance policy in Ruiz and Vitinha, but in the second leg I saw a bit more discipline about them. We're not going to do that thing. You like fly.
guys
You
flying
know
up
when
and
Arsenal in the
doing
first 15 minutes, Arsenal were totally on top of them like white on rice. They stuck in. They didn't try to get the ball. You play up.
And
Let's weather the storm. That was really good.
Very important. And you know, people are going to make the argument and say, no, it wasn't a decision to go that way. It was because Arsenal were pressing. How you know it was a decision to do it was that they were playing pure counter-attacking football.
Yeah.
If it was Arsenal just pressing them, that's making them play that way, every time they had the ball, they would have attempted to retain possession the same way they normally do.
Yeah.
They would have attempted.
And they have the players to do it.
Have the players to do it. Usually, that's why we call them, you know, before the start of the semi-final ties, we call them the best footballing side in Europe at the time. And a Luis Enrique team, total possession. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Total possession. So every time Arsenal would press them, and even when they have the ball, if it wasn't a decision to start a little bit more careful, they would have tried to retain possession. That's what they would have, but they didn't do that. They were playing counter-attacking football, legit.
And it was really smart.
But more than that, the most impressive thing for me is when you watch the evolution of the PSG team, right? And I still maintain, and this is probably, I'm the only one that has his opinion in football. I still maintain that the most successful PSG team, I think they would have gone on to win the Champions League, would have been under Laurent Blanc. A lot of people forget.
Ibrahimovic.
The Laurent Blanc team,
Yeah.
the Laurent Blanc team were the most.
Lavezzi, Cavani, was Cavani there at the time as well?
Yes, so Tuchel won the Champions League final and could have won it as well, right? But aside that Tuchel team, right, which was fraudulent. I don't think you lose a Champions League final with Mbappe and Neymar, right, in the same team. It should not be allowed.
See, it is easier to lose a Champions League final with two lazy players.
No.
Two players who don't want to track back.
Right.
They
So
play. It is very easy, bros.
No. So I think the quality, the Laurent Blanc team was really good.
And they played Bayern Munich, by the way.
And they played Bayern Munich, which is fair. But that team was better than Bayern Munich's team, player for player.
Player for player?
Yes.
Are you whining the federal government?
Relax.
I thought you were going to say as a team, player for player. Okay. Even as a team, it's debatable.
That Bayern Munich team.
Again. Anyway,
That
I am robbing them.
Thiago Alcantara.
story for another day. Story for another day, right?
Thiago Alcantara. Now that match, Thiago Alcantara.
But it had
Liverpool
variety.
say we need to get this man.
But it had variety, right? So
Verratti can he lays the boot of Thiago Alcantara?
are you playing?
Yeah, I'm not playing. He cannot.
Prime Thiago.
Thiago
Wait,
Alcantara.
I don't understand. Emeka, are you part of this conversation?
Prime
Well,
Thiago.
Thiago, Verratti.
Wait.
Thiago
Talk about
Alcantara.
Verratti is generational
Prime
talent.
Thiago. No, we not talk say no be generational talent, but Prime Thiago. Prime Thiago.
Verratti is to the Cruz.
Stop that nonsense there.
That's a good one, actually.
Wait,
Thiago Alcantara.
Stop
now
that.
Verratti don't insult like this.
Stop that nonsense. Nobody
Why
is
stop
insult
it
him.
too?
I think so.
Verratti is an
Thiago had a bit more.
A bit more, man. Thiago had a bit more magic.
But like Thiago could do a bit more.
You get had a bit more. Verratti
You cannot press
First
him.
of all,
Verratti is a register.
Exactly.
Tick it around.
Verratti.
You don't see
Not to the
midfielder.
Cruz.
You don't see central midfielder. All these people, they give person
But
left
they're
over
slightly
for
different.
midfield.
Like Verratti was a bit more defensive.
But you don't see
Thiago
central
had just a little bit
central
more.
midfielder.
If
they
you
do
think
people
about
left over
Thiago
for
now,
midfield.
he had the
Thiago-
passes.
Is that what it's saying to do?
Yeah,
Verratti is, but
You
Thiago
get-
could dribble.
Thiago could dribble,
Baba,
could
he
pass,
could dribble.
could, like.
Baba, he go
But
carry
Verratti
leg
is
like this.
He's like screening.
Yeah.
He's like
Jeez.
almost
Yeah.
gets.
So you can even play both
He
of them
came
together
through-
in the team.
He came through La Masia.
Anyway.
They learned from
Abel,
Xavi.
man, Lamasia should relax.
Anyway, the point
I think he will
I
buy
wanted
me
to make,
something for that one. Where I talk.
you have to.
I go see jab them before we finish.
Tell them- I
The
will
point I
tell
wanted to
them
make was
invoice.
that Enrique, when a manager, again, the word manager is very important here. The manager didn't force his hand to let go of Mbappe. It was something he was glad to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Was he though?
No, it was.
No, it
glad
was,
to do.
it was.
You said they didn't force his hand.
No, they didn't
He
force
was
his
They
glad
didn't
to
force
do
him.
it.
Like he was, like the funny thing that
So-
if you get the feeling,
Let's
from-
establish something.
Okay.
Let me land it. Mbappe was going to leave at some point.
Exactly.
Right? But Enrique was more than glad to let him go.
like he,
Like I don't want to put up a fight for this guy.
because the
like-
minute the story broke that he was leaving, Enrique stopped playing him.
Enrique was like, you know
Man,
what?
man, see the
I'm
backing
only
of Leicester
playing
is
you.
not just-
I'm only
no,
playing
no,
you
no,
He
no,
stopped playing him because he said,
Let's not
relax.
dive.
He said,
Let's not
let's
dive.
plan
relax.
without him.
Now me make the point. Let me finish it. Right?
This is the way in the
There are
talk.
some players that when you want to leave your football club, right, you move heaven and hell to make sure they stay. Right. Move heaven and earth. Sorry, not hell. I don't deal with hell.
They say, Timber, between Joshua, they say Satan.
Yeah. Anyway, anyway, I saw the background footage where he was telling Mbappe, you are the almighty attacker, you are this, that, I don't know if you've seen that footage.
Was telling
Enrique.
Sat him down. Sat him down. One cold afternoon. Told him, look, you are a great attacker, you do this. But a real leader, right, shows the team what he can offer them when he doesn't have the ball. Right.
Yeah, fact.
And for me, the point I'm making is that Enrique the principle was that I'd rather have a team, right, that 11 players see themselves as equals, nobody, even though one might be talented than the other, but you don't think that because you're talented, you will not run for your teammates.
Of course.
On the premise of that, that's how he has rebuilt this PSG team.
Exactly.
Yes.
Ousmane Dembele used to be one of those players that, you know.
Yeah, strolls about the park, you know.
Yeah,
He's like,
I'm the guy.
And
And
that's why
I don't
give
see
him
him do
credit.
that thing, you know.
You know, that's why I give him a lot of credit because that's what happened. That was the PSG team, you know. PSG was about, you know, you get the Galacticos in, you know, they weave their magic in football games. But when you play, you know, high stake games, you need the team. You know, football has moved on from Messi and Ronaldo. Giving one player, you know, football has moved on from that. The team needs to play with structure. Yeah. The team needs to play with discipline. And that's what he has done. You know, we always talk about what Pep did with Man City, you know, making people like David Silva who were unbelievable footballers, you know, De Bruyne's.
Exactly.
You know, Bernardo Silva. We always talk about making those players work. The PSG players, you know, PR-wise are not maybe up to the level of the De Bruyne's and the David Silvas and Bernardo Silvas. But these are superstar players in their own right. These are really good footballers. You know, Vitinhas, you know, Joao Neves, young player, you know, Fabian Ruiz. They are very incredible footballers. You know, not the PR, you know, not the big PR names and all of that. But the amount of hard work these boys put in the game. Did you see Kvaratskhelia? What Kvaratskhelia did
God.
over 2 legs?
Yeah.
If I know Nuno Mendes is brilliant. If you isolate Nuno Mendes with Saka will kill him. If you are in
They doubled him every time.
if you isolate Saka with Mendes, the one time they isolated him with Mendes, Saka caught in and hit that ball that they.
This guy
If you isolate Mendes with Saka will kill him. Kvaratskhelia over 2 legs. The job that guy did on Saka was unbelievable.
He worked.
And this is a star player.
Yeah.
This is the
With
guy.
ability, with all
You know,
the
this is the
players,
guy.
yeah.
You know, on the other.
Can we play for Real Madrid or Barcelona?
Anywhere in the world.
This is the guy that should be at the other end of the pitch, you know, waiting to receive the ball and driving at the team.
Great point.
A manager does that, even at Napoli. Kvaratskhelia wasn't doing that.
He wasn't doing
He
that.
wasn't.
So Napoli. So it's
So for me,
massive credit to the manager.
that's my indicator to say I see this manager for the work he's doing. Because you know, when you get players like Bernardo Silva and David Silva with Pep, that's the best credit I give Pep. People talk about Pep's genius, and I think Pep's mind works in a different way. I agree with that. But for me, the most important thing he does is, I see for years you would have Fernandinho at pivots, you have Bernardo Silva beside him and David Silva on the other side. I'm like, how is this possible? It is only possible that these guys are running. You get incredible miles, and I see the same thing with PSG. So I wanted to make the point now. You know, what are we witnessing with them here? Because according to some people, they're the best team in Europe at the moment, and I see why people say that because they have a variance in style. If you want us to ball, let's go that way.
I think they're the most complete.
Yeah.
So when you look at Barcelona,
Yeah.
you look at PSG, like PSG can, maybe not to that extent, but they can do what Barcelona are doing in terms of the attack,
Yeah.
the control. But PSG also have that a bit
Steal.
more control, still.
Steal.
Yeah.
Like you see again how those small midfielders, they're all terriers.
God.
Like
Yeah.
Neves and Vitinha, they have absolute premium technique. Pedri, all these guys, but like they work very hard as well as a team. And then you have physical monsters. Mendes, quick. Hakimi is he's even quicker than I thought. Hakimi is rough. He's rough.
Yeah, he is.
Then like
He
don't
is.
play. Oh.
He
then,
is.
then Pacho, another monster.
Yeah.
Then like so they have
I was
they're the most
impressed.
complete. I think they're
Yeah.
the most
I
complete.
was very
I think they're the
impressed
most.
by Pacho.
I think they're the most complete. True,
Yeah.
and their depth in squad is silly.
Yeah.
Their depth in squad is
That
silly.
Desiree Doué guy.
That guy.
No, we're watching the guy at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Remember, we're having a conversation like
Yeah.
at the Olympics. I'm like, I think you were the one who said,
Yeah, because at the time I
This
was seeing what's it called? You know the one where there's Sabi do for Stamford Bridge now to define boys with the secondary school where Sabi play ball. So I was seeing oh there's a linked to Chelsea Stamford. That's how I got to. You know, that's how I heard the guy's name. And I saw the guys, this guy is very good. Oh. I was seeing people
Incredible
tweeting about
football.
him. Because usually, once I see people tweet about any player, say, he's like so player. They are comparing him to this. To make I go watch YouTube, make I see this player. How they compare to Neymar, who they compare him. So, this guy is very good. And for me, I think that when you build a team like that, Enrque, he's somehow, he's found a perfect blend of talent and hard work.
yeah.
The level of work that João Neves did yesterday in midfield,
That shot
that
was-
João Neves, the guy was chasing Partey. That guy can't they press Partey. Partey can't they struggle on the ball.
Yeah.
And he's also good on the ball as
It's
well.
very rare to find players that are so exactly that. They are terriers like that. Like you press you like Gattuso, but you
Like-
can play like Pelo.
and the
like,
guy-
like he's a hybrid.
He finds
That's why Bernardo Silva doesn't get enough credit.
He finds
Bernardo-
very key passes between the lines. This João Neves guy, and when you now compare that to Fabian Ruiz and
I know from a reason.
what's his
I
name?
love him.
Vitinha.
He's too smooth
And
on the
Vitinha,
ball.
right? So that's what I think that genuinely Arsenal fans have said so many things about we didn't play badly, or we were the better team, the goalkeeper was the man of the match. They've said so many things. But I genuinely think that quality wise, I think PSG were
No, PSG.
They were
are and
better.
they were
Of
better.
the game,
Of course.
They
Okay,
are
so
and they
where
were
did Arsenal lose the game? Was it the first leg? 'Cause I think the second.
I think Arsenal lost the game in the first leg. I think they lost the game in the first leg, and again, you don't want to be overly critical of the team, but you know, sometimes football can there are very fine margins. We talk about you talk about the Donnarumma save. I think it's a different game entirely if the Odegaard
at the start. That his first
the
header that just
header
went.
or the
If that goes in.
Odegaard ball goes. I
in
think
the first leg.
in
No,
the
this
second
one,
leg.
That's why I don't agree that you lost it in the first leg.
If
No, they lost in the first leg.
No, I
Two
don't
misses.
agree.
The two
they
misses.
gave themselves
If you
a
lose
lot
at
to
home
do.
first leg, yeah.
They gave themselves a lot to do in the second leg because the funny thing is that if Arsenal had drawn that game, if that game was 1-1 or a draw, Arsenal won, it would have been you play into Arsenal's hands.
Yeah.
Like, you are not going to win because Arteta will come into the second half, it's in the second leg, and Arsenal will say, you know what? They are the ones who are under pressure. So they're at home, they need to come.
A 1-1 is
And,
completely.
we lost it in the first leg. But the second leg could have gone a different way because Arsenal started really well, And I thought I saw a bit of pragmatism, with the throw-ins. I've never seen that with Arsenal. I've never seen that because I noticed before the game, before the first leg, there was a start that PSG conceded a lot of goals from set pieces.
Yeah.
Arsenal didn't quite take advantage. So obviously the plan was this second leg, anything around the box, we are going to put it there. And it worked. Declan Rice had an early header, should have gone in, could have gone in. He had another shot that the goalkeeper saved from close range, and then the other got shot. Like, how does a goalkeeper make a save like that? It is diabolical.
I think Donnarumma is rebuilding his career.
It is diabolical. Go and watch it. Like, Odegaard hit that ball, and Odegaard has not hit a ball that hard in a very long time.
He has not hit a ball. His career is on the line. Arsenal.
He hit that ball so hard, a sea of bodies, like a goalkeeper with that sort of reach and height
to go
that low.
To go down, like, it's... The minute I saw it, I said, God, no, God won't make me.
Sorry, man. Someone mentioned, right? And I think it's critical to understand positions and the importance of positions in football. You see, you can have this. You can have Pep Guardiola's, left frontal lobe with Johan Cruyff's right. With Jose Mourinho's center. Some things in football you can't reinvent. A top goalkeeper that can make saves. In football games, whether you're playing low block, high line, you're playing from the moon, you're coming down, middle
class,
get a world class goalkeeper.
Get a goalkeeper if you're going to win trophies. I can't remember one football team
that didn't have a really good goalkeeper.
That won anything remarkable.
You are joking.
Had an exceptional season.
You're joking if you don't.
Of course.
That time United they play with Fabian Barthez. Say about you. Come on, be good.
Let me say this right.
Come on, be good.
And United struggled for a few years until they got Van der Sar.
You get. See that Donnarumma guy, I was just wondering, I was like, oh Nana, I hope you're watching this game. Because
this is your number one job.
Because we're speaking about Enrque, brilliance, flick, this.
But you do your job.
But you see, that Champions League final, let's see what Courtois did with Zidane and Coach. Zidane and Coach, Ramos their team. Oh, Courtois did against Liverpool. Donnarumma, we've seen it again. We've seen Jan Sommer. I've seen predominantly the stats that XG, this is the first time in football that I have seen XG for goalkeeper. He said the guy prevented 1.4 goals. I'm not used to seeing that stats.
XGC.
So I'm saying like, what do you call it? XGC, right? The guy prevented 1.4 goals. So this guy on his own saved two goals.
He won them the game.
So let me say this, right?
So
in my opinion, and I agree that Donnarumma won them the game. One of the reasons why I don't think after the first leg, I don't think you lost the tie in the first leg is because, see, the moment the away goal rule...
You really think Arsenal lost tie in the second leg?
Yes. The moment the away goal rule has been removed, right? In fact, in my opinion, despite everything that you did in the opening stages of the second leg, I think totally as a game, Arsenal played better, way better in the first leg. In terms of like everybody doing what they were required to do, what they were supposed to do. And that's what I mean. You see, the second leg, you started well, you should have scored. Granted, but it happens in games. And Donnarumma had to do his job. But I very much believe that you had key players who were off their game. In the first leg, we said you missed Partey. And truly you did. I thought Partey was more of a problem for you yesterday.
Yeah, I thought so too. In reflection,
executing your games.
Yeah,
he was. You see, after Odegaard.
When you say it was a problem how?
In executing Arsenal's play.
So didn't play well.
In terms of.
Not
it's not the type of performance where you say he played badly.
He didn't
but
play
it was
badly.
the type of performance where you feel like, bro, I expect more from you there.
They targeted him.
They targeted him.
They targeted him. Clearly,
whatever
they pressed him
was
a lot.
the cause.
And when they press you that much, and the funny thing is that what I've learned with Rodri, and which is why he's the captain of the class.
You let it go.
when Rodri and he's Spanish players generally.
He was trying to exert his nami. No, you let it go.
With Rodri, if you press Rodri, you are not Busquets. Busquets was the one that you would, if you
body
give me the ball,
he go come out to you.
If
Busquets will say, "No worry,
McAllister,
come now." Busquets think as you come like this, Busquets come, he touch the ball, he come off for your leg like this, he go carry. You are not
at Liverpool. He said when they asked rate Rodri, Caicedo, Declan Rice, he said he actually put, instead of difficulty in playing, he actually put Rodri last. He said because he can't even he doesn't
manipulate. He doesn't manipulate.
He said he doesn't touch the
He
ball.
doesn't touch the ball.
That literally like you can't even get near him
You
because
get.
the ball has already left him.
So that's what I mean by
That's a very good point.
very good point.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by Partey. For example, the goal Arsenal conceded. Partey, before the ball came to you, I know that you are Partey. I know that you are scanned. Why are you trying to take 2 touches or what? Why?
No. Why do you want to take 2 touches where you are?
Where you are? Why do you want to take it
It's
and
in
then talk? What are you
discipline.
doing?
I said at the start of the game, at the start of the show, that it's in discipline. Like
So-
it is. When I go into games, we talk about consequences. As a footballer, there are positions, and Partey is a very. Lewis Kelly had a pretty underwhelming game.
He had a difficult game.
Yeah, and I can understand. I can't be critical of him. He's
Yes,
18.
yes,
done
yes.
He's 18.
Yes.
The manager should have helped him,
done
taken him
well.
off
He's done well.
early on in the game. He's 18. If Miles Lewis Kelly made that mistake, I mean, I
can
would
get
hold
it.
my hand
I
and
can
say,
get
what?
it.
He's a young lad. He will learn. But
With Partey,
Partey, on the edge of your box,
bro, I was shocked.
you are trying to guide a ball on the edge of your box. Like, you are 1-0 down. You are not 2-0 up. It's in discipline. And
do you know that?
That's why he was a problem.
Ini, do you know that before the ball ended up being a goal, I'm watching the ball with dots. Before the ball ended up being a goal, as Partey do that thing when they collect, I'm like, what is Partey doing?
What are
Before
you
he ended up
doing?
being a goal. And guess what? I don't want to blame him too much for the first goal. But again, it was a shocking clearance. But I don't want to blame him too much for that because you have jumped and you are trying to head. These are the fine margins. It was a shocking clearance. He had the ball directly into the line of fire.
When Gabriel Magalhaes got injured, Arsenal's challenge for the Champions League crumbled.
Well, I think that's revisionist.
No, he's not.
He said it at the time, so I won't.
Because he's the leader.
He said it at the time.
He's the leader. That ball,
Saliba has been looking a bit shaky now.
Saliba hasn't had a good season, and even by his own admission, he has said
he said it.
He said he hasn't had a great season. That Gabriel has covered him up a lot. That ball, where Partey was, that's where Gabriel would have been, and Gabriel will concede a corner without thinking, without thinking. As the ball is coming, Gabriel will smash it. Partey is trying to
Partey had he had them into the line of
He's trying to be cute, and he's in discipline because. In the end, it's safety first.
And the next person I was going to talk about is Odegaard. You see, after Odegaard made that shot,
that was the
end. Like as he fired that shot, he just wait till he made and make it come on in boots today. Because
I've been one of the guys who thought, I know this guy is a really good player. And I know he has shown better than he has shown this season.
Yeah.
He started the season really well and then went to Norway, that useless Norway. That will not even qualify to Euros.
Always one player I want to visit.
Nonsense.
I think
beautiful country, useless national team.
And he got injured.
And they went and injured him in that.
I think with
that
games
Euros, they will still not qualify.
With games like this, it's really fine margins.
It is.
Because I
That's
know
what
sometimes
I mean.
it's like we can analyze but like sometimes really fine margins. And I think first leg, like those first 15 minutes, I think put doubts in Arsenal because I don't think Arsenal have been dominated that way at home
and they
in a while, and they conceded early.
And they conceded early.
It's really, really fine margins. I think ultimately, these are very, very evenly matched teams. I think what I'll give PSG the edge. I think PSG have a bit more quality.
Of course.
Yes, they do.
Their decision making was a bit better. A bit more of an experienced manager that again what we saw
Yes,
in the
yes,
second
yes.
leg.
In his decision
A
making
manager that
approach
has
and
won-
everything.
a manager
Yes.
that has won things because no Dembele he could have gone and put Gonzalo Ramos. He said no, we want to keep the same fluid front three that we can counter, we can have the speed. So I think little is really
One final thing also. One final thing also.
So remember what I said last week about moving too many pieces around in the football team?
Yeah, you did say that.
Okay.
You did say that.
You know, I would never understand, and I figured this thing out maybe 10 years ago, where you have, you have a functioning team, right? So Partey is on a yellow card, right? Partey is on a yellow card, so that means I have one problem. one problem. I'm not going to try to, in fixing that problem, create 2 more problems for myself. So I'm going to isolate the problem and try and fix that problem. I don't care if I might place Zinchenko there. He might not be fitted for the position, but I'm going to limit. I'm going to say, you know what? If I try solving the one problem and I don't solve it, I still have one problem. But the moment I move another piece in the team out of that, and I have 2 problems. So I move Merino.
As the king of that Tuchel is a king of this thing.
Tuchel is a master of it.
He's a king of it.
There's a problem in the team. Solve that problem.
You will create 4 more.
You now create 4 more problems in the team.
I kid you not.
It's like this thing. It's like this thing that Amorim is beginning to do. I did look at. I did look at small. You get,
Bro,
we don't get right back. Dalot don't injure. Allow Dogu where he is. Right. I know you're rotating the team. Play, that one is working. Go and find. I rather have.
maybe we manage this side.
If
If I'm not saying I want tire bad,
let me know that this one I'm managing with.
Make I know
when
this
are
Don't
the
say the
side.
player that was playing well there.
When are they
I'm putting
vexed?
it-
When are they vexed with Arteta?
I put him here.
When are they vexed with Arteta? When did he carry Partey go play right back? When I get angry, I start and say, "But what do you want him to do?" I say, "Go and get a kid from
now
the
you are
English."
removing him
Play
from
there.
his best position. See,
I say, if Man City,
Let me tell you.
and they always ask this question. I say, if Man City no get right back, and Rodri is fit, Rodri can play central defense. He can
You
play
will not
right-
play
he
there.
can- Do you think that Pep will risk removing
Go and put
control?
a makeshift
You
guy
have one
there.
child.
Go and-
See,
O'Reilly.
Or-
Go and play there.
Pep will carry the second choice goalkeeper and play him at right back.
yeah.
let me tell you something.
That's moving
Like,
around the team.
You cannot move players from
Tuchel
positions
get
where
issue.
they are dominating
Wait,
game.
Tuchel
I
get
said Tuchel
issue.
that day.
Tuchel get issue with left back.
Eh,
He get issue with left back. He can't carry Rhys James.
Rich James, where
First
the
of all,
right
that
back?
left back we get, he can't come on Saul will be midfielder. He
Midfielder.
can play that left back.
Oh, God.
Can't carry Rhys James from right back, put for that midfield. Now, as if that's not enough, you see that left back when he play Saul so. Now Saul and Malangsa, now they that left side.
Bro.
Malangsa they play left center back.
Trent
Saul they play my
Oh,
God.
my goodness.
I say if they don't, I say this guy purposely won't lose this game.
Did I see that line? Did I see that lineup? That lineup.
I
you
lost
not
my
carry
head.
Rhys James?
That's why today when I see Chelsea
What
fans
did Rhys James
online,
do?
when I see Chelsea fans online, I revision it. Tuchel, why did they fire you? Say because he won the championship. I say you don't know what you're doing.
You get
Why you not carry Rhys James?
Tuchel gets
back?
Tammy Abraham for bench. You get
Why you no carry Rhys James?
Lukaku get injured. You fall out with him. You don't play Tammy Abraham. You can't carry Kai Havertz.
This guy Havertz as a number 9. Who started it?
Nah, Tuchel
What's
started.
Tuchel now?
That's why
Tuchel.
part of your problem.
If anybody used Kai Havertz as a number 9 before Tuchel, maybe one or two. I don't think Lampard never did it.
It was Tuchel that started.
It was Tuchel.
You get. So anyway,
Papa was playing
anyway,
Werner now.
Yes.
anyway,
he will say he won Champions League with
you
this.
know, yeah. So
Sorry, I wanted to mention one final thing about Arsenal.
Right.
When Emeka mentioned again a little bit more quality from PSG, the coach with more experience, and another thing that I noticed about Arsenal, and I didn't understand why it was when I was saying I was in my mind, I was saying it out sometimes. I was like, bro, now the game, now you have now considered one. When PSG now scored one, you have to understand that the tie is not over.
It's not over.
No, of course.
Especially in the Champions League, there's a belief that you must have.
yeah.
I didn't see the anger like in the eyes of the players, like
Yeah.
The desperation.
like we're
Yeah,
going to
of course.
kill here
Of course.
to get
I
this
agree.
thing. I didn't see it.
I agree.
They were still trying to
overly
do
structured.
structure.
still-
They were still trying to do, bro. The
needed
tie
to
is
go for
going
it.
away from you now.
Yeah.
How did we concede the first goal? We started the game, with we're going to throw everything at them. I saw Raya was bombing the ball forward. The first time Raya tries to pass out from the back.
Yeah.
The first time he tries to pass out from the back
Considered-
is when we considered it. Because he played the ball and Declan Rice took a bad touch.
Yeah.
Considered the free kick.
Yeah. I
The
fell for
free
the
kick-
Rice there.
Consider the free kick and Declan Rice. You were talking about Declan Rice playing from the, on the half turn. It's not that.
That's not his strong suit.
It's not. He could have been doing it for West Ham.
But here,
you
those
can't
ones
do
too, they were expecting you to do it now.
Yeah.
They press.
I agree.
They know he's
pressing
not
like-
the first time we tried to pass out from the back because PSG were struggling with the long balls, with
Yes.
winning the second balls. Those were things we're doing well, and then we tried to say, let's play a bit. Arteta said, you cannot. There is no team. Maybe Barcelona, even Barcelona.
I was not gonna play at PSG.
You cannot dominate this team for 90
For
minutes.
90 minutes, never.
There is no team.
I don't know with Arteta, but this brother. Anyway, our champion is over. The moment they don't score, I was surprised. Why have you not brought on Nwaneri? Even Sterling, when useless, Sterling will at least win you a penalty. You have to throw everything at
For
it
me,
now.
Nwaneri, like,
Ita is
it's
going
probably-
away.
It's probably Arsenal's most like. If you're someone that can do something unpredictable,
Yeah,
like, creativity.
magic.
He might just be 17
Factor,
or whatever,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like, he's the one that can come in and
should have taken off Odegaard.
Odegaard was taking 2 touches on true passes. True pass we don't open. Odegaard they take another touch.
And I thought that sometimes you just get bad luck.
But I think you could have gambled like
Because-
you have to gamble a bit more.
Yeah, because
You have to gamble
I thought
You get Champions League is for things like
Like,
that.
as well, like, you're already going
watching
out
the
anyway.
game. I'm watching the game, and I'm like, what is PSG really struggling with? The crosses, the balls into the area. Arsenal needed a left back on the pitch, and Miles Lewis Kelly was not that
The
left.
space was so. That's 100%.
Like,
That space was so.
Arsenal
I know
needed
the
a
whole
left back on the
apparent,
pitch.
yeah?
The whole
I
season
would have
he's been
brought
playing
on.
there.
I would have brought on Tierney. Because Tierney is
Just
a
to keep
left back.
whipping it
He's
in,
a
right?
left back, a very old-fashioned left back
Yeah.
who wants to be wide and get the ball
Whip
into
it whip it in.
The first cross that comes in from the left-hand side of that pitch is the one that Saka missed over an open goal.
Yeah.
I think that was a very very glaring because I mean the whole game. So
The first
MLS,
cross.
I know he does that inverted,
I watched the
there were
game
times
two
where
times. I've
he kept
watched
on
the
losing
game
the
two
ball,
times.
kept on losing the ball there, and then there's a gaping hole on
Hole.
that left back. That left
All
back.
we needed because with Hakimi, he would want to stay with Martinelli. So once Tierney goes wide and Martinelli goes inside, you are giving so much space to Tierney, and Tierney will cross. Tierney will whip in crosses into. Tierney is like Robertson
to spam
in terms
those
of
crosses,
crosses. He
Yeah.
can
Just keep
whip
putting it in.
Just put it in.
So
I didn't see the you talked about the desperation. It comes from the manager. Because if the manager says, you know what, we're going to change this thing and go gung ho, we are the ones losing. We're 2-0 down.
Yeah.
We're 2-0 down. So once we do that, because with Declan Rice making those runs into the area, Merino's height, those balls into the area could have caused a lot of problems.
Yeah.
for
It could
PSG.
have.
Which we kept trying
The way
to
you started
play.
the game, that's you have to end it. You have to end it. Why is it that when you are chasing the game towards the end, it's always nervy?
And the funny thing is that at 1-1, PSG would have panicked.
Of course.
At
Of
1-1.
course.
They started the
Like
game
they would have
Of
panicked.
course. All you needed was one goal.
We just need a goal.
Yeah.
If you score 1-1, PSG will panic. They're
Of
like,
course.
they doubts in their mind.
That's Champions League for
That's
you.
why even the Inter game, Inter were leading 2-0. I'm
moment
sure they
Barca
come in-
scored one.
The minute Barcelona scored one, they're
Problem.
like, where are we? Where
Problem.
are we? The next goal came. Barcelona could have scored 4 goals in the space
telling
of
you.
20 minutes.
So what I would say to
About 5 margins in football.
to
Yeah.
credence that to give that credence is that the 2 biggest comebacks in Europe this season, right, have been Inter Milan, Man United against Lyon, right?
Gamble.
Who scored the goals?
Centre backs at the
Centre
end.
backs, right?
At the end. Gamble.
Centre backs.
Gamble.
You see,
Centre backs.
See,
This
guy
interview
is-
Gary Neville had with Fergie.
It's fine.
Fergie told Gary, he said, what is the sense? With 2 minutes to go, you're losing a game at home. What is the sense?
Well, structure
in
at the back.
keeping Your structure.
What's that?
you get
What is the sense?
What I would say is this:
Throw everything.
managers have to have. You see, when you are a manager and you have a football team, you guys are together. There has to come to a point where, in those moments in battle, right? I'm not captain. I'm not lieutenant. I'm not colonel, right? We're all just trying to survive here,
Yeah.
right? Tomorrow, right? Hi, boss. Good morning, right? Well, I said that to say that there's a point in the game will reach. You say, Saliba, if you have a feel for it, go.
Yeah.
If you have a feel for it, go. Like all the player comes here and say, boss, I'm going forward.
What's Achebi doing in that
Because
position?
what's he doing there?
That player,
37-year-old man.
that player,
What's Maguire
that
doing
player
up top?
is Gabriel.
You get
That's the
And-
that's why we miss him.
and
more,
Ini,
because
Ini.
he could have been.
Ini.
Gabriel would have gone
You have
up.
a point.
You need to even
Gabriel would have gone up.
to even bust your head, right?
You have a point.
You get us, it go be for dressing room camaraderie. Go they say the player no say manager go vex. In go they go say we go solve that problem later, right? But
For here,
I'll be
oh,
there.
But football don't change.
I'll be there.
Football
And I'll
don't
tell the
change.
left back.
But now they're overcoached now, like we said.
I'll tell you back. But you cross. Don't give the ball to
Just
Odegaard.
cross it.
Don't give Odegaard again. Odegaard,
Again,
go back.
But again, with Mayu,
You're serious?
we can criticize Maguire for his defensive, mishaps sometimes. But every time Man United are desperate for a goal,
Maguire is
goes
there.
up.
That's what I'm
Maguire is
saying.
there.
He goes up like he said, put the ball there. I've got the physique.
Yeah.
I've got because that game at 1-0, I'm thinking I'm thinking, are we throwing enough kitchen sink?
I'm telling you, I didn't see it.
That's the question I'm asking myself. Because I could have brought on Calafiori and said, you know what, Calafiori?
Just go in the box.
So that's why
Go up there, we'll put the ball there. Because two things will happen. They are going to hit the ball out.
You win the second
and
one.
people like Saka
We'll win the second one and we'll smash it.
and Declan Rice will be here.
So it's something I don't
Or
see with Arteta.
they will
I think
concede
it's-
corners.
Yeah.
I think with Arteta, everyone say, okay, when they get a striker, I still feel there are lots of games they still play built with a handbrake on.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason. If you look at Arsenal's record against the Big Six last 2 years, they pretty much never lose. But there are a lot of draws. They don't. They for them to go over the top, I feel there needs to be that handbrake taken off slightly.
Yeah, I
just
agree.
so these guys.
No,
can-
I
because
That's what I'm
they
saying.
are
rarely
so-
lose.
you are-
You see
you are-
so many draws.
I
because
agree with you.
There's,
I
there's
absolutely
a
agree.
bit more risk that needs to be taken, I think, for them to.
I agree. You know what? One of the reasons I agree with you as well is because this thing you said just made me remember something Maresca said. Because they were asking him, he's not playing transition football. There was an interview and he said the team is not good at transition football. That if you watch all the games that
Man,
the
you
team has
remember
struggled.
Oga. That transition like
He
this.
said if you watch-
why only man you won't play.
Bro, he said if you watch all the games that the team have struggled, is in games where it's been back and forth. But he has also said that that's not to say if
Push
the
comes to
opposition or if the there's a way the opposition will play. I want my team to play quick. It depends on. There's a way the opposition will set up. My team knows that I want them to go 2 passes. They are at the other end.
Yeah.
So there needs to be that understanding between the coach and the players to know it's a tie. It's a Champions League semi-final. You have lost the first leg 1-0. You have considered again here. What again?
Yeah.
What system
will
are
happen?
you trying to
What
show?
needs-
Yeah. I think
You will learn.
just to
You
wrap
will
this up.
learn.
Just to wrap this up. I think one of the things people don't realize, and it's almost because we every August a new football season starts, and we go again. But what is lost on a lot of football fans, I realize, and a lot of players as well, is that in a football career, which if you're lucky might span 15 years, right? Some guys, at the top, at top maybe 8 years, you're gonna make Champions League final maybe twice in your life. If you're really good, if you get into a
even that's why I
if you get into a generational team, right?
Tony Cruz left the WhatsApp group and
Leave those thieves.
bundle the admin into fire.
Leave those thieves.
Illuminati club.
Leave those Illuminati people.
He left the group. He put the admin in fire. So the admin can't put him back.
Every time he's making comments now. But the point he's doing referee now. I saw him refereeing a game. When you have robbed the whole spot, heist, you can do what you want to do. But the point is that in football, you're gonna make maybe one Champions League final in your life, right? And you're gonna do 3 semi-finals in your life. But in the moment, it feels like, this good? We're gonna come
We're
back.
going to
next
come
year.
back. No, stop it.
I'm telling you, that
This
thing,
is what- this is Arsenal, this thing.
that thing is folly.
God bless you.
As Liverpool in the club dominance, speak in 10 years time they'll speak about the club era, right? One of maybe second greatest Liverpool manager after Bob Paisley, right? Klopp.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But
But
Shankly.
they're
The
about
great
right.
Bill Shankly.
But in the end, it's one Champions League title,
Yep.
one Premier League title, right?
One of everything.
What it tells you is that
Shit is hard.
it's hard. It's hard to win this thing.
God bless you that you brought it up.
It's not easy to win this
now,
thing.
Very
So when you
hard.
are there, when you are there, you tell the manager, when you retire, I'll retire too. I
That's
want to
why I
have
was-
Champions League on my medal.
That's
now,
why I was angry with Madueke on Sunday.
wait, bros. No
The
vex.
idiot.
What did you do?
They are giving Chelsea are giving Liverpool a guard of honor. The idiot was busy doing like this.
He claps now. Sure, you won't make it.
He was doing like this.
He just do
I
like
said,
that
you
clap.
will
now.
not win this time. You will not win.
Stop it.
The other
let
Chelsea
me tell
players
you.
were clapping. Baba, person don't play 35
claps
matches.
more
He win
now.
it. You play 35 matches. They see.
He claps
They
more
do-
now.
they do like this.
He count out.
I said that idiot.
See, first
You
of
will
all,
not win
I'll
this
go back to Arsenal.
Remove him from your team or you will
vex.
never win Premier
No
League.
vex. No vex now.
You don't cost on our team.
No make we can't be like Arsenal. Relax.
Useless person.
See, I'm going back to Arsenal, but at least now, all these Barcelona fans, I don't care what you have to say about Real Madrid. You beat them. Respect those people.
Of course.
You think this Champions League is easy?
But it's not.
See, let me tell you, before the semi-final games, at least the moment Barca don't play Benfica, I don't win. Second round. Don't play Dortmund, quarterfinal, I don't win. For a lot of Barcelona fans,
they've won the Champions
then they
League.
look but that their team like say, we Yamal, Rafinha.
We don't win
don't
Champions
kill anybody. We don't win Champions. But this thing is hard.
thing is
like
hard, bro.
with Arsenal, Arteta needs to stop this thing. They've eliminated your team. The first press conference you have
You
done.
say, yeah, the
say
better
the better team lost. Because we're
it's a normal thing managers
no,
do.
it's not.
Most managers do that.
Wait. Especially when you have not won to. The reason why it's not is your player, Declan Rice, too, don't do press conference. Say, we
Rice gives the worst press conferences.
he said, you know, we've played the majority of the season without 4 or 5 of our best players. So to even be here, what we've done is unbelievable. You people should stop this thing because and that's why I brought the manager. It would have been a normal thing for the manager to say the better team won. But when I'm seeing your player doing that as well, it seems like you people are creating something in your team.
But
I know,
Arteta does that. You know, even like the ill discipline and things like that. You see Arsenal players demonstrating, thinking that the whole world is against them.
Is it?
It's an extension of Arteta.
Yeah.
Arteta does
The
that.
manager is
He
a
does-
responsible for
Arteta
that.
does that a lot. Arteta does that a lot, and I think I don't think he's channeled it the best way. That
Yeah, there's a way you can channel it.
Like he's saying, there was the world is against us.
But
there's a way you channel it.
They channeled it. They channeled
It is about you are against me, but I'll kill you.
But Arteta's one is more victim mentality.
Victimhood.
Victim
season.
mentality.
Ebuka put his post. Sorry, Ebuka put the post and said since 3 weeks now they never get PJ Moyle to put blame on.
Yep.
And whilst that is banter, it is instructive, right? In the sense that I've always maintained that in life, and I would make a touch on it, the better position to take, it might not be the best, is that I am not a victim.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not that people are not wronging you.
Even
They are
while
not doing
you're
you
a
wrong.
victim,
Yeah.
you are still you
Saying
are
I'm
hell
not.
bent. I'm not a victim. You understand? Because what I want to create is a siege mentality, right? To the outside world, but to
Yeah.
inside us, we're trying to improve and make sure that we come to a point where this excuse is not.
Yeah.
This excuse is insignificant to us.
It's
Go
exactly.
see when you said siege mentality.
Yeah.
It's like you're telling your players everybody's against us, so we have to be better than all of them.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
That's it's just basically that, because at the start of the season, you know, they made really terrible errors, this is where, and I have my issues with Arteta. I think that he gets really stubborn at times. He gets stuck in his
Which
ways.
is an ingredient you need to be a top manager.
You
to
know,
do that.
he gets stuck in his ways at times. But let's call it spade a spade. The board don't have the ambition that the fans of the football club.
We've said it
have.
before. I disagree with you.
No,
but
no, I do.
Now's
No,
not the time.
But it's the fact.
I disagree though.
No, because
I disagree because
You know-
at my club,
If you make
at
bad signings,
my
that's-
club,
that
people
was not- that's
people-
not
people-
your fault, that's
people-
not
people
you.
keep talking about
Of course,
Glazers.
I agree.
And Glazers have, to be honest, Glazers have. I'm not in the community of United, so I don't have as much right as the people who live in and around the area, right? But I can say for sure, money is not the problem.
Money's the-
Glazers have thrown in.
Okay, you mean at
money
United.
The main fault is the structure.
Is the structure
and the
which
money that they are
they are
keeping for
responsible
themselves
for.
and the
And the mon-
structures. But it's
But-
not. They spend the money.
It's not like
But
they
they
not
spend the money.
spend money.
You
It's
understand?
because the structure
We are
is not
Arteta.
there.
If Pep,
You have spent money too.
hold on. You've
He's
spent
now,
money.
he's now done. He's now
No,
done
hold
almost
on.
900
No,
million.
hold on. In rebuilding, you're going to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
In rebuilding,
Granted.
you know, you're going to spend a lot of money because you are almost phasing out the entire team and buying a new set of players, and that will cost a lot of money. So he's not been buying players to win titles. He's buying players to build a team.
Create a base.
That's what he's done. So I don't think I can fault him. But in the last 2 years, the club have had a need to buy players to win, and they have not done that.
You don't
At the
thi-
start
you-
of the
you think-
season, at the start of the season, and this is coming from somebody who.
But whose fault is that though?
No, hold on. He's not. Arteta doesn't spend the money. It's a club.
I know,
At
but
the
it's-
start of the season, Arteta asked for a winger, and this from a reliable source. Asked for a winger. Asked for a striker. The club expressly told him they couldn't afford it.
Because they bought a.
That they
bought a
spent
left back.
£100 million on Declan Rice.
because
No,
of
but
his
there's-
own
but there's
spending.
no-
I wanna say-
Hold on.
I want to see where this is going.
Arteta goes into the season with what he has. You know, I'm gonna do
No,
it.
he bought Merino.
Calafiori.
He bought Calafiori.
Calafiori.
No, not what he has.
No.
Alex Thompson.
None of those players were
So they're not
signing.
But it's about signing
So
what
why-
you
why-
need to.
I want to see where this is going.
Hold on. Why Calafiori was signed was Arsenal were planning. We're going to sell Kivior. Kivior was going. the deal broke down last minute. That's why Kivior stayed. So it's not like they were
what
signing
happened in
Calafiori to
what-
replace Kivior.
So what happened in January?
Zinchenko was going to leave. So Arsenal needed defensive reinforcement. And in midfield, we didn't have enough legs. It was just Declan Rice, Jorginho, and Partey in central midfield. And you can't go into a season with 3 midfielders. Only 2 of them get injured or suspensions and all of that. So I'm not a fan of those 2 signings, but I can understand why it was
The
made.
rationale behind it.
I understand why it was made.
Yeah.
But the club said they couldn't go on and get a big centre forward. They couldn't spend money on a winger because Arteta wanted Nico Williams. He wanted Nico Williams and he wanted centre forward that was going to cost a lot of money. And the club said they couldn't spend. Arteta started the season with the players he had. In January, Jesus got injured and Kai Havertz got injured. Is it Arteta's fault that the club didn't sign the player?
But they tried to get Walker.
Because the club told him, we're going to go big in the summer. So what do we do now? Do we take a part of that money? Because what people are getting here, there's money to spend. There's no money to spend. The club are not, Arsenal can't just wake up and spend money.
So my question is, my
So
question
when
is,
the club refused to sign a player in January,
Yeah.
and Arteta was in the media saying, you can see clearly, the players need help. He kept, every press conference, he kept asking for a signing. And the club refused to give him a signing. Guess what? This PSG game that we're talking about, if Arsenal had a striker, and I'm talking any striker, a Kai Havertz, it would have been a different game. It would have been a different game. Because, you see, the job that these people were doing, they were doing it on our wingers. But if there was a striker, those centre backs will be concentrating on the striker, and the wingers will have more room.
Yeah.
We played them first in the group stage, in the league phase, and Kai Havertz was a menace. He was moving everywhere. He was throwing himself about. So it would have been a different game.
Yeah.
But the club refused to sign a striker, and that's not on the
I
manager.
see the point in his making.
I don't.
That's not on the manager.
But I want to hear you as well.
That's not on the manager.
Let me make her go.
What you have said now about every manager in the world is looking for what Ini is just saying. Every manager.
But this was a peculiar.
Amorim came into a new.
But this was a peculiar situation
Amorim
with
came
2
into a new
strikers
club.
injured.
He came into a new club.
Yeah.
Wants to play the system. We said we'll do your shopping in summer.
Yeah.
Liverpool. No transfers. City was the one that we know their own all this thing. But my point is Arteta is the one manager that I'm not going to have it that he's complaining about signing.
The board didn't give him.
No Arsenal manager has been backed like this man. So
Do you know why I disagree with
I
him?
want to hear
But the situation,
so you're saying
the
like-
situation
so you're saying
of
let him
2
respond.
injured players.
This man, let him respond.
Oh, no, hold on. You are saying
We have heard that. That's what you're saying.
So you're saying you need.
That's what you want to say.
You're saying you need. You're saying you need Nico Williams and you need Osimhen. Who does not need? Who
no, hold on.
Those guys.
You think that? No, hold on.
Me, I need that. Me, I need
You think
that.
that?
I need a move. I need
No,
a
you think that the club? No, I'm not even talking the start of the season. I'm talking in January.
Who won't leave Nico Williams for January?
When the club,
You guys bid for Oli Watkins at the end of the window.
do you know why we didn't?
That thing was a ruse, in my opinion.
No, do you know why we didn't spend the money? They actually wanted it. I said we need a striker.
Okay, and the board.
And the board said, you are still, because Watkins is 29. Arsenal are not looking for a 29-year-old striker.
Oh boy, you will do a job.
But he could have done a job. The point
But
is,
that lack of ambition is
if
smart.
it's from the management.
No, I'm saying
No,
that
the point
to
is,
sign Oli
if you
Watkins at 29
spend,
for
they're
60 million
telling
at that
me,
time, I don't think it's good.
if you
it's good
spend
business.
60 million,
It was 40 million.
No, 60.
It was 60.
No, it's not good business.
If you spend
business.
60 million pounds on a 29-year-old, we cannot buy the Victor Gyökeres or the Shesko you want in the summer.
Of good business.
It was business-wise, maybe
No,
it's sensible,
but it's
but
not
it's a
smart.
lack of ambition from the club.
So then what happens in the summer?
It's a lack of
So is that-
ambition.
But if that's not the guy that you guys, again, there's a lot of planning. So if that's not the guy that you guys have said that this is who we're going to roll with. So why are you buying Oli Watkins in January for 60 million?
That's
and
the
then
point I'm making.
No, but that's
We
not sense.
literally threw the season away. They threw the season
doesn't
away by saying, you know what?
Senior
we can't
man.
get
The
you a
only one I would say
striker.
is
Senior man.
Osimhen. The only one I
You're
would give you is Osimhen.
What-
That was
what-
an opportunity that was missed. Osimhen was an opportunity that I would say was missed.
Big miss.
That was in the summer.
Yes,
That was in the
anything.
summer.
Anything else for me?
Senior
is
man.
You have to also protect the club.
Senior man.
It's PSL. Clubs are having to sell.
Oh, Jonathan.
Everybody's looking for what you're
Senior
looking
man.
for. And
Here's what-
Williams wants 300.
Senior
Nico
man.
Williams is saying wants
Here's
300
what-
million.
here's
Let me
what-
tell you to raise a lot of
Jonathan,
money.
here's why I
Let-
disagree
Sorry,
with
let me
you.
tell you to raise a lot of money. Sell Luis Mascali to us. Pure profit.
Pure profit.
He said that
Let
you
me-
sell who?
Let
Luis
me.
Mascali.
That's true. We don't even talk about Trent. Leave it.
No, we'll talk about trends. I just
See,
want to wrap it
let
up.
me-
'cause,
let me-
Legend at the Anfield.
Let's just wrap it up. This
Idiot.
is why I disagree with you.
Say he's lost.
The reason I disagree with you is that you have to put into perspective the fact that Arteta is the one that has been tasked with building this team.
Yeah,
That's why I disagree with you.
not
No,
alone.
he's
Not
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 player
alone.
now.
Wait
He's
now,
not working alone.
wait now,
He's not like
Make
you're
una
giving-
wait now, senior man. You talk too much. See,
We need to wrap it up.
all of us here will always say, "Oh, when Arteta came in, one of the things you used to brag about is that he's the one that decides. I want this guy.
Yeah,
I don't
of
want
course.
this guy.
Of
I want."
course.
So it goes without saying that there are people behind the scenes doing the transactions, but he's the one that decides. I want a player. I want that player. Right. So if you have now been there, this is his 5th full season, bro.
Yeah.
5th
No
full
excuses.
season.
No excuses.
So
Of
it
course.
is
No,
your
I
team.
get.
It has been your duty to build this team up. Okay, so when you took the job, how many years did you think they were going to give you before you should win the Premier League title?
Yeah.
It was your duty to build this team up until last summer.
Did they tell you
it was
they
your
wanted him to win
duty?
the Premier League title?
So they gave him 6 years and said, no, we're okay not winning.
But I think he makes a good point.
Do you
Also,
think they asked him to win the Premier League title?
Oh, so you are saying the board possibly gave him those 6 years without
they
him
didn't
having
give-
the pressure
No,
of winning the
no,
Premier
no,
League
no,
title?
my brother,
They
knowing
didn't give him- they didn't
Arsenal.
ask him to win the Premier League.
If you say that's the point, then I back off.
No.
They didn't ask him to win the Premier League. From where he took the team,
The ambition could not have been to win the Premier League title.
he could not have been to win the
Listen
Premier
to
League.
me, oh. I
This
did not say-
Premier League
listen
that has
to me.
happened-
Me, that's not my
happened
argument.
My
by
brother.
surprise.
My brother, listen
when
to
Arsenal
me.
challenged for the title 3 years ago,
Ini.
Arsenal were
I agree
not
with that 100%.
planning to
Ini.
challenge
That's
for
not my
the
argument.
Ini, listen
the
to
club
me.
are happy that Arsenal are qualifying for the
Listen to
Champions
me.
League.
Obviously, from where he picked up the club, nobody, no sensible
talking about
person
now.
would have said they want you to win the league. But you have now done.
But we're there now. Now
You
we're
don't spend
there.
100
You get,
million on Declan Rice
do you understand?
for nothing.
To
Yeah,
win top
for
four.
Top four, yeah.
Did you go and spend something million on Kai Havertz to win top four? So now you have
So
done.
you don't have excuse in terms of the squad that you have
It
now.
is you.
can't, there's no. If you want to
You
say,
are the
okay,
one that made the decision
we
to
didn't
buy
win,
Kai
or
Havertz.
we didn't win. Okay, maybe you can say this reason, this reason. But the squad you have now, you can't.
My
blame
brother,
the
you
board.
could have made that decision in the summer.
Maybe this January they could have done more. But
Can I ask a question?
In general,
Can I ask a question? You and I know that in the summer, before the start of the new season, Arteta would have had a sit down with the decision makers at the club, and they would have told him. It's not that they would tell Arteta we can't spend this money and then they get out. No, they would have told him PSR for whatever reason. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do. So you have the information. So how do we plan our
Prioritize.
summer transfers? You could have made a decision. We have masterclass. We have open and one area.
Hold on.
We're going to buy
We
this
did not-
striker
We
first.
did not know that.
Wait
We didn't
now,
know that.
you didn't know you were
These
going to
players,
relax.
These players are breakout players. So
Relax, they
nobody
are.
was- Nobody was planning
Ini,
to play
Ini,
them. On.
Ini,
Those
they
boys were
are.
planning
I know that.
10 substitute, 15.
Ini, I know that.
So don't count
But also
them.
remember that you lost Haven, you lost Chidobe Martins because you didn't give them a pathway. If they told you that you can't spend this, you can't spend this, then you have the information to plan your squad and say,
But
the
guess
striker
what?
is what I need the most.
Guess what?
We're going to use this guy in this
Guess
position
what?
to
But
back
he
this
didn't
one.
feel that
We're
striker
gonna-
was what he needed most.
a
That's
winger-
the
He didn't feel like that, so that's his fault.
He didn't feel the striker.
So that's his
Because
fault.
He feels like
I agree with that.
he feels like I have safety. If I can guarantee safety in my team,
Yeah.
that's why Arsenal.
So that's his fault.
That's why
It's not the
Arsenal
board's
haven't
fault.
lost a lot of matches. They've drawn a lot.
That's what I was
That's
saying,
why they
yeah.
haven't lost a lot of
Yeah.
matches
Yeah.
because the way the team is built, they will not lose a lot
So
of
basically,
matches.
you can't eat your cake and have it.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
So don't put it on the board.
I would.
So I tell you
I
what,
would. It is me.
I'll tell you what I think.
He said, "Don't put it on the board." I will put it.
Come on, beat me.
See this one. He said, "Don't
No,
put
no,
it."
for friends, you go.
So this is what I think, right? For a guy who started out to be very ruthless, right, with departures, with departures,
With
Right.
his decision making.
I think that at some point stop being ruthless.
He'll be raising
By
my blood
whether it
pressure
was
for
for
nothing.
sentimental reasons, because I think that I can count at least 3 players that don't need to be there anymore. Right.
Of course, they are leaving this summer.
I think guys
Trossard
like
needs to leave my club.
Do you know what? I think the point you made, I think it was not. I think it's just last year. I think he really believed that they were there.
They were there.
Because they lost the league on the last day.
Yeah.
Again, I said they scored 91 goals in the league.
Yep.
Their attack,
Yep.
Harvest, all these guys.
Yep.
So for him, so
He
that's why I said he's not the
believed
board.
they
He
were
thought that
so-
they were there.
But
yeah.
for
And I sat down here and I said,
Emeka-
look, any sensible person, no,
I
Emeka
think
is
you'll be
Fantastic point.
top drawer.
Me too, I said it.
You
No,
said
no,
something.
no, no,
you
let us
said
say what I
something.
said first, because don't share my glory.
There's something you be said. There's something you be
Make
said,
it
and
talk
I
out
think
mouth now.
I think-
Make it not be another
no,
thing.
No, let him
Because
say it.
the naivety Arsenal had,
Yeah.
which is obviously you blame the manager for it because they clearly thought that they were going to be
What did I say?
going to be lucky with the injuries. Injuries have ravaged Arsenal this season, and they didn't think about it. In the last two seasons, Arsenal have been a bit lucky with injuries.
Exactly.
You know, the first was Saliba got injured and we lost the title.
Yeah.
That one.
That happened.
Well, a comfortable
that
excuse.
happened. You know, last season it was almost an injury-free season.
Yeah.
To go into a new season,
So that thing that I
thinking-
said, say it.
that's what you said.
Yeah.
You know, the Arsenal cannot think that they can keep going without the injuries. Man United have had a fair share of injuries. You know, I'm not sure Liverpool can say they've had so much injuries. Man City have had injuries, but
They went into the market.
The depth in the squad, helps them. You know,
Yeah.
and all of, and they still went into the market. The naivety going into a season and
Like-
thinking
Yeah.
that you can go into a whole season and your players will be fit
See, I
all
agree with
season.
us now.
So,
yeah.
do you know I know all these
so,
things?
so you're
I
looking-
also
so,
no vex,
so,
Yubby.
so your approach is
I also remember there was a time he was making that. I was telling him, he said, no, goal scoring is not a problem. We scored so number of goals last season. We don't need to. I was telling him, you need backups for Saka, you need backups for Martinelli.
And I
you need it.
never
He
said we didn't need
goal
those things.
scoring.
Don't say this
He
thing
said,
before I
rela-
slap you. Don't lie on me
Jonathan,
before I slap
don't lie,
you.
don't
And I remember I kept saying, you have to look at the people you are competing
Yeah, of
with.
course. I
You have to
remember that.
look at the people you are competing with.
I
Are you-
remember that. I remember that.
I think
remember
a point is made.
I
But
remember
I just wanted to land and end this.
But that might pin me, I don't go lie
end
now.
this.
That one I know. Now because we no agree for no come today.
Why no?
We had to
Stop
drag
that
in
nonsense.
into this podcast today, right?
Stop that
Right.
nonsense. Why no?
But what I want to add is,
I had a lot to say, so I had to couple.
a manager has at different points in his career at the club has high moments of has high capital and has low capital. Where would you put Arteta's capital as a manager? I'm going to start with Emeka.
So I'll say it's right in the middle right now. I think again I'm if you know me, I'm one of the advocates for managers and giving time.
Yeah.
Even this season
But
I
they don't
was
give
like
this guy
give their
time, I
time.
don't lie.
But like I think I was analyzing, is this a disappointing season for Arsenal?
Yeah, it is.
If it was, let's say Chelsea had this season next year, Champions League semi-final, come second, this and that.
Yeah.
It's a good season.
Yeah.
But relatively for this Arsenal team,
Yeah.
again, like
Very
last year
disappointing.
lost the league on the last day. You know, you're thinking that we're making that step, and again, you come to this season, you just go past one round in the Champions League semi-final, lost FA Cup third round to your rivals with 10 men at home, you're out.
Very poor.
Carabao out. League less points than last year as well.
Yeah.
So I think his capital is going down. I don't
Yeah,
think he
down,
can
yeah.
survive. I think if he has another season like this, where you're close, then just like this man is the Brendan Rodgers, and we need a Jurgen Klopp to
Right,
come in
yeah,
and
right.
take it.
I
over the top.
absolutely agree. Absolutely
good
spot
point.
on.
What
Absolutely
I
spot
want
on.
to look at it from is when the manager comes in, like you mentioned, you don't. The mandate is not to win the Premier League. That's not the mandate. It clearly cannot be the mandate.
Yeah, clearly.
Right? Because Arsenal, the last time they won it was 2004, right? And what they've been struggling with was building a stadium and making the top four. So the mandate could never have been to win the Premier League. It's different for Amorim. Amorim's mandate is win the Premier League at some point in time, because last time we won in 2013, right? And we're Manchester United. Do you get?
Yeah. So you
So-
will be there.
so you'll be there to take the job.
You'll
Like,
be there. That not now.
Our
but-
job is to win the Premier League. I believe that when Arteta took over, there was not there in any
Yes, yes.
part
Yeah,
of
of
it.
course.
But we're talking about capital. When you look at the progression of the club under him, 5 full seasons, right? First season won the FA Cup, right? Buys him,
He scam us.
buys him some time, right? Next year builds. Where they finish that first year, six.
No, so
No,
first year
eighth.
was half a season.
Half season, eighth.
First full season, eighth.
8.
First full season, eighth.
Then third.
Then fifth, and third. What that tells me is the guy steady progresses, right?
Yeah.
So last season lost the Premier League title on the last day, no?
Your last day.
On the last
Yeah.
day, right?
Yeah.
So that's the closest they've come. They bettered the other season, right? Now this season, so basically that last season, you'd have said his capital is somewhere around
It was still high. So this was
capital is somewhere
yeah,
around
yeah.
90,
Yeah,
8
still
on
high.
a scale of 10, 8.5 ish, like thereabout. So if you agree that is the case, go into the season with a capital of about 8.5 on a scale of 10. This season now, he has now taken Arsenal, broken the Champions League ceiling to semi-finals, beating Real Madrid beating Real Madrid is important to mention, right? Because you didn't just beat anybody. You beat Real Madrid convincingly.
Yeah.
I think that there is still progress. You get
Yeah, there is.
No,
This
no,
is
hold
not a
on.
This is
And
not a progression.
Again, you can have an opinion, but I believe,
But what in what way?
I like to banter Arsenal, and I would love to take the easy route.
No, but like, what metric would you use to say
But
they progressed?
I'll say progress.
No, in what
I'll say
way?
progress. Why this? The league hasn't progressed at all.
No, they've
Right?
gone backwards.
They've gone backwards in the league. I agree with that, and I predicted they go back in the league. But in the Champions League, they've been able to aim for higher, right? And for me, it is not easy to win Champions League as we've established here, right? But I think they for the first time since 2006, there was a genuine we could actually touch title.
Yeah.
I think that no matter how small it is in some people's eyes, that has to count for some level of progress.
So what I would say,
Yeah,
The problem I have with that is that are we going to keep doing? We put our legs here, we make one step here, and we lose momentum
exactly.
here.
Senior man,
Exactly.
But again, when that happens, you have to look at the details of why they've lost the league, right? I think they make us what I mentioned. They still play with a bit of handbrake on,
With injuries too.
injuries too, and a bit of lack of quality. This season the next season going to next season is going to be a watershed season.
yeah,
right?
I think this next season is.
So
the-
we back you, and depending on what happens,
yeah,
I think we're gonna let
it
you
has
go.
to be.
Yeah.
This next season has to
But
be
but,
the
but I
deciding
don't
one.
but I don't think that it is time to throw in the towel, bring the house down, and because I see
No, he has to do one season more.
He has to do
This
one
next
season more.
This next season has to be it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If he
of course.
doesn't win,
He has to go.
be out.
Yeah, I agree.
There's only so much time you
Absolutely.
can-
If he doesn't,
Yeah.
if, no, if he doesn't win,
If he doesn't win,
I think players like Saka will leave.
that's the problem.
that's what the club should be very, very,
Where-
very
where-
of.
where- of.
See, me, I'm not afraid of Arteta leaving.
How you go there? They pay you.
Like Saliba.
Saliba, they will go.
His eyes are already.
Yeah.
Saliba is
His
going
eyes
to
are
leave.
already.
Anytime Arsenal win a trophy, Saliba will leave. I was even afraid that if Arsenal wins the Champions League this season,
He will
Saliba
go.
will leave.
Yeah.
Because he made a statement.
And why not?
Madrid are already.
Yeah, that he doesn't
calling.
want to leave until he
He said,
gets
he,
it
said,
tight.
he said this club, if you don't win anything, they will forget
Oh,
you.
of course.
So he
And that's
wants
true.
he wants to win a trophy. So
Yeah.
I think that any trophy we win, he's going
It's
to leave.
unfortunate, man.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. And you see,
It's Real Madrid. They should just keep their 250 million.
I want us to wrap it up on the show today with Trent Alexander-Arnold. And this is a conversation that
Legend.
we've having back and forth on in our WhatsApp group, and off the back of Jimmy
where's that,
Carragher
Wally?
saying that
idiot.
you
Supposed
can't
to
tell
mic now.
Liverpool fans how to feel and things like that. And I think I can say that, but you can say that if you were anybody else. Anybody else can say that, but you can't say that because first of all, you have a job. The job you do is telling people how to feel about their football clubs, right? So you can't all of a sudden
Become
say
a fan in that moment.
become a fan in that moment when the Trent situation for me is, and I think that Arsene Wenger has touched on this. Real Madrid have found a model, right? He found the models. This is how we're going to operate transfers going forward, right? This club is the darling of the world, and we're going to just sign players based off allure.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to sign players, right? Why build all this pedigree? Why be the prettiest
And
girl
still
in
be
the
paying
why be the
big
prettiest girl in the
money up and down?
room?
Yesterday,
You understand?
I was
still be talking to players.
I was doing a little research. I
Yeah.
said, Man U are the biggest club in England.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly. Liverpool are probably the second biggest club in England. I think Arsenal can say they are third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Chelsea. You see those four clubs? Their entire Instagram following, no reach Real Madrid following.
Yes, now.
Yeah.
Yes, now.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Four clubs.
Let me tell you.
I
You
was
see
telling
this?
someone, I said, this club that you see called Real Madrid and Barcelona, they are not football clubs. They are-
Entities,
They are cult
principalities,
organizations.
Cultural. So
Principalities,
the clubs are
cultural
so
organizations.
yeah.
that so every player wants to play there.
So my point is, when you've had this thing about a local lad living in football, living in a football club, I think it is the most hypocritical thing you can. I think I think there is a bit of cynicism in it.
Yeah, it
You understand?
pisses me off a
It's
lot.
almost like because you're a local lad, you don't deserve better. You don't deserve to leave these shores and look for a better career and look for a better life. Right.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
No, I think you hit a nail on the head. I think, first of all, even like Gary Neville them used to say, those days, almost like, because you're a homegrown player, they will pay you less.
Yeah.
You don't have agents, this and
Yeah.
that. Like, they expect you to take less.
Yeah.
They'll buy big money
Yeah.
players or give them big contracts.
Yes.
Yeah, local lads, so you should
Yeah.
take it.
Yes.
And the thing, again, all these guys, if you're not good enough, they will discard you.
Of course now. Of
They will
course.
discard you.
Yeah.
And no one cares. Right? So I think objective. I'm a United fan, so maybe it's not objective, but like, if you are being honest as a football fan, Trent has won two Premier League, one Champions League, FA Cup, Carling Cup, Club World Cup, everything.
Club World Cup.
Everything.
What is he gonna do?
He's fulfilled his contract. And it's one thing the difference between NBA and basketball and football. In basketball, if you honor your contract, you honor your contract and you go.
Yeah.
It's so, I don't know why
You are respected.
In football. It's like you're committed
It's a
a crime.
problem.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
oh no,
do you know my-
he honored. He didn't leave them
Yeah.
like other people. He didn't go to when Suarez, but he stayed. He finished his contract. And he's now
you know
going
my-
to experience something
you know-
at 27.
Yeah.
So I think it's hypocritical. Jamie Carragher, when they want to sign someone on a free from another club, is he going to say?
Zubimendi, when Zubimendi decided to
So
stay,
he said
Liverpool
they
fans
were
were
saying-
cussing him out, cussing his mother,
I think
doing all sorts.
I think hypocritical is a lightweight. There's a cynicism
There's a bit
inside.
of-
Vex.
inside
That's
yeah.
why I made that comment. When Carragher made that thing, I posted on the group. I said, "This Carragher is a terrible human being. He masks his very well." Because see, the reason I made that statement is simple. You're a Liverpool legend. You've played football, so you know what it is to be a footballer in that kind of space at that level. What the relationship between a footballer and the fans of the club
Turning
can
the fans
turn
against his
into.
own-
Do
turning
you understand?
fans against them.
So when you are Jamie and you say that about a Trent leaving your club, for me, it goes beyond you are just an emotional fan. You have all of a sudden forgotten the fact that, bro, I literally saw on Twitter, somebody Twitter said, I just got off the phone with whatever Liverpool fan and they're taking matters into their hands. They're going to mobilize, some people and they want to take it as far as Trent, will never step foot into Liverpool again.
That's a joke.
It is a joke, my brother.
It's a
but
joke.
bro, what you don't want to do
It's a
in
joke that
today's
should not be
world-
allowed
The
to.
words
that should
carry-
not be
words carry
allowed.
weight.
Do you understand? It is something that you should not allow to fester. It is something that should not allow to even happen to gain weight or to gain traction. And when you are Jamie Carragher, you cannot tell me in a million years that you don't know the power that your words carry.
Exactly.
So when you say something like, you can't tell Liverpool fans how to feel, you can't tell me that you don't know that statement more or less means that Liverpool fans have a right to feel and react however they want to Trent leaving.
Yeah, which is the same thing about when Gary Neville many I think 4 or 5 years ago said the fans should need to get into the stadium and things
Do you
like
understand?
things
I
like
never
that.
understand those kind of things.
Things like that. I think that as media people, and for me, I don't pride myself being a journalist. I don't introduce myself anywhere as a journalist. I'm just but I understand.
did.
I understand the role that my voice has
weight it carries.
and the weight of what we've been able to build here has. Right. So you see people, Arsenal fans. I saw an Arsenal fan that I was watching a show at Terra Culture. An Arsenal fan, hit me up. He was like, "Hey, great stuff," that kind of thing. So I'm jogging the other day. An Arsenal fan pulls me up and that kind of thing. Like, this is good stuff. So I see that in this space we have become, to some degree, for everybody different degrees, perception shapers, right?
That's the job.
You shape perception.
Like you do. That's why your word. That's why you have to be
But I
careful.
like
and not,
you
because-
have to be
Whether you want a
know
responsibility
that.
or not, So for a guy who has played the game, he has been on all sides. He's been a fan. He's been a professional footballer. He's been a pundit. To have that level of to be so stoic in that opinion, and be unwilling to change that opinion, even at heights of victory.
Yeah.
You get.
And let me
It's
say
more than hypocritical.
Yeah,
It's
it's-
like-
you get.
cynical.
That's why I said I think this
There's
guy
something-
is
cynical.
a terrible.
It's
Let
cynical.
me take it. You see, when Chelsea were going to sell Gallagher 40 million,
The fans didn't want him to go.
yeah, Carragher said, "Oh, they're going to sell one of their best players from last season for 40 million, which is the mess that this new ownership has created." How do you? So, that there's PSR or whatever. Gallagher was one of the names on the list to be sold because he's an academy boy. It's pure profit. You know that. And you're saying that now Trent is living for free. You are angry. Okay, they wanted to sell Gallagher for money. You are angry. Trent is living for free. You are angry.
Yep.
Choose one. Stay there so that Thunder can locate you.
I think,
Yeah.
I think the feeling is more like I think it's inferiority complex. That's what I think. I think that Liverpool fans feel like Trent is living for greener pastures. That's what they feel. And Liverpool is an emotional club, and I can understand all the emotions. But I always say,
You can't let it get
we're human beings first and foremost before we're football fans. And we have to treat other human beings with respect.
Yeah.
You know, we have to allow them to make decisions that is good for them and their family.
Yeah.
Trent would have sat down with his family and think and said, you know, this is
What
the
do we-
best
yeah,
move.
yeah.
This is the best move for us. I've done everything that there is
Just
in
live the
this
dream,
club.
Bro,
I've lived the
bro.
dream
I mean,
of playing for this football club, won titles,
Is it-
done everything.
I'm a United fan, right? And I've seen the moment I saw the money being thrown around Bruno, 65M each a year. I said, look, I love Bruno. I want him to stay till the end. You know, where we can give him a good send off. You know, because he's such a cool guy. But if you ask me now, I say I drive into the airport to go and earn that money for his family.
Do you understand?
Because for that player's quality, and I'm sure Bruno must sit on Champions League night Tuesday and Wednesday thinking, my quality, this guy no better pass me.
yeah.
I should be there. I should be there.
I should be there.
100%.
I should be there.
And on top
I
of
should
that,
be here.
and on top of that, after the game, he's gonna have a life.
You
His
know-
kids are going to have a life.
You get-
His family are going to have a life. And you can sit where you are and think, oh, he has maybe 2 kids. He has enough money that he needs already.
No.
Don't worry. You don't know anything
It's
about his
your own
family.
mind thinking
It's
that
that's
way.
your own mind.
It's an English thing.
So
you know?
yeah.
it is.
They don't think that Real Madrid are they like they are
And
yet
all
to
of them keep saying the same thing.
reality.
All of them,
that these clubs
Senior
are
man,
bigger than
all of
them.
them keep saying the same thing. No, it's not that he's living that's the problem. He's that he's living for free. Don't get out.
Why not no collect money
Big
for
lie.
January?
Why not
Real Madrid
collect money
put in a
since?
bid, oh.
Yes,
It's a
now
big
why
lie.
not collect money
You
since?
know Real
big
Madrid
lie.
put in a bid in January.
It's a big lie, and that's why I love what Salah did. You get
It's a big lie.
Salah. You know, I start giving interviews on people giving that contract.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
They wait,
Yeah.
wait to all this one we're not talking about the ineptitude of the club.
Of which club?
You can't allow-
Liverpool
Ah, you
allowing
didn't see my
the
tweet.
contract.
You can't allow the
You didn't see my
contract
to
tweets.
run.
Yeah.
This is
Saka's
exactly
con-
the same thing I said.
Saka's contract is remaining 2 years. They don't call new one. They say,
My brother,
please,
one of our guys
please
now,
come
but,
and sign a new one,
Koiki.
oh, please.
You know,
Add to
Koiki,
that too, because we don't want to hear stories that touch.
Yeah.
you know, Koiki is a Liverpool fan.
You allow a local lad
Contract to run
so-called
down.
local lad run his
That's what Emeka
contract.
said now. That
To the
if you're
end.
not good enough, they will
will discard
move
you just
outside.
now.
You understand? It's the same thing with this thing strikes.
The fans should be calling out the club
This thing strikes
for
close.
their ineptitude.
This thing strikes close to
killing the
home
player.
They are killing the player.
because here in Nigeria, and it's an African thing as well, where Nigerian thing actually, where because people have seen you grow, right? From maybe you used to be, maybe came in as an intern, but people see you grow. They don't want to change that concept of you.
That
They don't
perception of you in their
you
mind.
understand? They don't want to change that. This guy has now
You
become.
know the funny thing.
Has
You know
now
the
become
funny
an
thing.
authority.
I
like,
think that because he's a
you know,
local
there has to
lad,
be a
that's why
handshake
they allow
and
his
like,
contract
you're
to
now
run.
you're now the guy.
Yeah.
Because they always feel like, oh, you are a local lad. Anytime we can talk to
can
Trent.
talk, yeah.
He's our guy. It's that condescending behavior
that's
that is
what-
making the
so
boy.
you want to keep him there. You
The
understand?
same thing I told
You
this
have to
guy.
realize this player is best in class, right? So yes, he's the kid that came in from the academy. Which
You have to
you know,
treat him like that.
put him
He's
in.
a
but you
top
now have
player
to
now.
call him the respect and now wait for him to react in either a, you know, if he's now pompous, you can now say, okay, that kid is pompous now because we saw you. But if you have seen him grow and he now reacts in a way that, you know, I'm now this guy, but I'm still here. I'm still one
If you
of
are not
you.
a foolish club.
So that kind
If you are
of
not a foolish club,
Yeah, I see what
no.
you mean.
If you are not a foolish club, first of all, the moment you heard that it is Real Madrid that's coming for your player,
Yeah.
immediately you know that the chances of keeping this guy here, first of all, so you call the player. Clubs know how to do it. Your contract, they're going to tell you have to sign a new contract. If you don't, if you don't sign, you are gone now.
No, you know, if,
Or
you know,
whatever
no,
they
no,
need to
no,
do, they
whatever-
do it.
whatever they need
But
to do, right?
you go offer the
Let's-
player money way in the fine.
Let's
You
wrap it
get
up.
because you
Yeah.
know you're going to
You
sell
know,
him.
there's a money, even with the lay of playing in Spanish football, there's a money you offer that boy. That boy will sign a new contract.
Oh, of course.
He will sign a new contract and say, you know what, this is my club. I'll stay
This
here
is what they
Yeah.
want.
and
They
collect
want
my
the
money.
fans to kill him.
Yeah.
Say, he has left for money.
Guys,
He has
He
I
left
want
for money, yes.
I did say at the start of the show we're gonna have a good one. I think we've had a really good conversation.
For sure.
And I want to thank Emeka very much for
you.
staying till the end. Even though you had an emergency back at work, so I really wish you all the best in sorting that
Yeah,
problem out.
thank you, man. Wish you guys the
Ini,
best, man.
Congrats on
Absolutely.
your house search has come to an end.
Yeah.
So
my
finally,
house has come to an end,
finally
my
you've
brother.
Finally.
I don't wish it on my enemy.
you found a landlord that likes you.
Hey, man, no.
Landlord that likes you, and I hope he's an Arsenal fan.
That's one of the most underrated things in this league.
Yep. You find a landlord that likes you.
Landlord
never
will give
like-
you problem.
landlord
Your
will
landlord
not give you the
likes
Because
problem.
landlord give you problem. That house now, you know will be home.
Bro.
To go there, say go tire you.
that's
But they-
really good.
on
Like-
fact, oh,
Rufai was really under the weather as yesterday or the day before, so made it to the show and put up good energy, so that's really good. So thank you very much, gentlemen.
Yep.
My mom did mention to me that I don't give myself any plaudits on the show and things like that, which is why I said I'm the register and press register at the start of the show.
That
so,
press resistor is debatable.
Yep.
That press resistor is debatable. Because the way Jao never press parking, you see saying they press resistor.
I know, right? But I want to thank you guys very much indeed. Shout outs to every single one of you who have been anticipating. I think this is probably the most anticipated episode of the podcast this calendar year. So I really hope you enjoyed as much as we
it
enjoyed
would have
making
been
it
a
for
good
you.
day, man.
And we'll see you guys very soon. Bye bye.
He said it would have been a good
I
day.
don't plan to buy Jesse.
If they say Arsenal win.